You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, always claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had the little homies press they ass for your tattoos. Hey, your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a dime. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braids, took a 2-man fade. I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right, but I was banking on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Got a throwaway in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a Damu. My little cousin making Paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Fire Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to set blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right now, nigga. Catch your fade, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
Holla Sue, the blood starts swirling. Fuck you talking about, nigga. We out here, nigga, right now.
What up with it, chat? Let me see you all in the building. First of all, I want to do a disclaimer, right? Let me shout out, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I want to do a disclaimer, right? If there's any white people up in here that is sensitive about racial language, you know what I'm saying, about white people, I want you to leave right now. I'm giving you a disclaimer. It's not me that's going to be saying the racial shit on here, right? But if you are a white person and you are highly offended, what's up, Tom? If you're a white person and you are highly offended at racial slurs and stuff like that, you might want to leave the chat right now. I'm giving you a disclaimer. I'm giving you fair warning. I'm giving you ample amount of time, you know what I'm saying, to leave the community right now. You know what I'm saying? If you mind, are you sensitive to racism? You know what I'm saying? You might want to leave because this whole damn video is about racism. I'm finna get to the bottom of it now. You only see this, Tom. Shout out to Tom for making this show possible. If it wasn't for Tom, thanks for you and a couple of other people that donated. I can do these videos for a couple of days, Tom. I've been doing my research, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's important to donate to the channel, because I can do the research. That means I can do the research. I can sit here and do the research. This type of shit right here take research, right? You're not going to see this on CNN, right? You're not going to see this on Fox News. You're not going to see this nowhere. I guarantee this, right? I done cracked the code, like I was telling Tom earlier. Tom, I was trying to call you, Tom, and you didn't answer the phone this morning, Tom. What the fuck you was doing, Tom? I was trying to call you, man. Huh? You don't see my number on the phone, Tom? You can't call me back, Tom? Anyway, Tom, I was trying to tell you, Tom, I cracked the code, Tom. Huh? I cracked the code. I done something that ain't nobody done. I know why Kanye West is right? I know, right, who's behind all the racism. I know I cracked the code, right? I know who getting paid off. I done put the things together. I done put the videos together. I done put some stuff together that ain't nobody talking about. You see all this stuff I got up here, Tom? You see all this? Wait, let me show you something, Tom. Show you I ain't playing, Tom. You see all this shit up I got? These are stats, Tom. AT&T, Comcast, you know what I'm saying? Brian, Zeph, right? Nice, easy. How? Update, 8 trillion. About Kanye West, right? You want to know what? These are all, right here, these are all things that are going to back up the facts that I'm finna tell you right now, Tom. They're going to back up the facts, Tom. What I'm finna tell you right now. I'll tell you something right now. Hold on. Let me get this off. Where is that? Let me get this off right here. Let me get this off. Right? They're going to back up the facts. Hold on. I want to show you right now. I can't show you this right now. I can't give you the game right now. I can't give you the game right now. Right? But here we go. We finna get into it. I'm waiting on, I was kind of giving, you want me to give you some time? Blow your mind, Tom. You want to blow your mind? I'm going to blow your, hold on, Tom. You think I'm playing? I don't think I'm fucking playing. Hold on. Let me get my, Tom, hold on, Tom. You think I'm playing, Tom? All right, here I go, Tom. Tom think I'm playing. I cracked the code, Tom. Okay, Tom. You gonna have to. Okay, look. If I crack the code, y'all gotta show y'all appreciate it. There gotta be more people donate their time. If I crack the code, y'all, we got to get some more donations up here. If this look, okay. If this video, right? If you saw all the things I put together in this video, don't give me a dime. Not 1 red cent. I don't want shit from you, right? If this ain't groundbreaking, right? If this ain't shit you don't know about, don't give me a dime. Not 1 red cent, not a nickel with a hole in it, right? But if I do, and I bless you with this information, you need to go ahead and donate because this shit took me all night to come up with. Anyway, let's get into it, right? There's enough people up in here. Let's get into it, right? Because more people gonna come, right? Now, first of all, let's get into, right? You know, Kanye done woke up the world, right? With anti-Semitic comments and stuff like that. And you know that people that's Jewish and stuff, they're running around here mad, especially in LA. Is a big Jewish community around here, right? But you got a lot of people that's Israelites, right? Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that. Muslims, you know what I'm saying, of all different kind of stuff like that. And especially you got niggas out here that's all from all different walks of fame. They Hebrew Israelites. Some of them claim they Jews, you know what I'm saying? They the real Jews. Some of them claim they Muslim. I mean, they got all kind of different niggas out here, right? So they got different beliefs. But a lot of them hate the Jews, right? And they real open about it, right? You know, they be on the corner preaching and shit. Now they have opportunity to say Kanye West is right. They running around here passing out pamphlets in Los Angeles saying, hey, Kanye West is right. They holding banners over the freeway in LA saying, hey, Kanye West is right. Now I'm finna let you know why Kanye West is right. I got the evidence to prove it. Here we go. Oh, we got to turn the volume up. We got to turn the volume up. Turn the volume up.
How is that comment, Beverly Hills, Bel Air? How has that kind of played a role in what people are saying to you?
It is time for us to stop pretending that that racism doesn't exist.
I think when we first heard Kanye's comments, you know, people were disgusted and upset. And then over the weekend, we saw the banner that said Kanye was right about the Jews.
I'm just going to say it. White men denying the existence of systemic racism, that is the essence of white entitlement.
And then the propaganda pamphlets on people's front lawns, and people started becoming afraid of what's happening.
People are becoming afraid of what's happening because of white people. Now it's because of black people. I feel it build up, right? I'm not going to tell you who's responsible for racism until the end, right? I'm not going to give you the good shit to the end, right? All this shit is good shit, but I'm not going to give you the real good shit time until the end. So you're going to have to stay the whole video and you're going to get the good shit. I don't give you drops of the good shit throughout the video, but the good shit and who's the main blame for it, right? And all this old shit about cheating and shit like that, I'm finna give it to you, Tom.
That bias doesn't exist in this culture. And if you will allow me, I'm going to share a very personal story that happened this weekend as I was out with friends. We were discussing the Dallas shooting at a bar/restaurant. And it was 2 African Americans, me and someone else. And there were other that were with us in the immediate vicinity, and we were discussing it. And as we were talking about it, my friend is talking about it, who is a black guy. And the guy looked at him and said, talking about the Dallas shootings, he said, "How does that make you feel as a nigger?"
How does it make you feel as a nigger? Right? He was talking to you, right? He was talking to Don Lemon, right? Now, it would have been real fucked up. He said, "How does it feel as an F word?" I don't want to say that because you would get banned on here. How does it feel as an Australian cigarette? Right? Because it's like 2 black men up in there. I'm like, who? Not you 2 niggas. You niggas ain't black. He wasn't talking to you 2 niggas, right? It must have been some other niggas up in there, right? Because he sure wasn't talking to you 2 niggas. But I want to build up the racism, right? You see how black people are openly racist, right? On the news, right? And I'm finna let you know who behind this, right? Slowly but surely. I just wanted to build up all the racist comment. I want you to see all the, like, damn, that was racist. You know what I'm saying? I want to build up and let you know who behind it. And all they got to do is say, hey, stop. But they don't do it. They want it to happen. I'm finna let you know. And guess who put him on blast? No other than your president, Donald Trump. But I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. I'm going to save it for last. You got to stay with me.
We're the Republican Party. We're the party that freed the slaves. We're the party of Martin Luther King. We're the party that wants people to...
You're not the party of Martin Luther King.
If I have to say this every single night of my life while I'm here, I will. You need to know the history of this country.
Yeah,
You're
actually, he was a Republican.
No, actually, no. Oh, my history is clear. Your history is ass backwards.
We do not need their permission or their sign off on what we know to be true and what we have lived. That is white mansplaining.
So only black people mansplaining. Only black people know about slavery. Only black people know about racism. Only black people have the history and all that. So only black people are qualified to talk about that. Anybody white would be mansplaining or white-splaining or something like that. But then you have these angry black people, right, on CNN, MSNBC, allowed to spread racist rhetoric and rewrite history.
Explaining. Or this poll in his tag to me. And I think it deserves exploring a little bit more. A recent Quinnipiac University poll has a striking result. 49% of people said that they believe President Donald Trump to be a racist, while 47% believe he's not. So 49%, that's half of the country.
And Kanye needs to understand that words matter. Words have consequences. And when you have a huge platform like Kanye, he can fuel the hate so easily.
Like, you hear that? He can fuel the hate so easily. So what can the news do? What can CNN do? What can MSNBC do when they have a bunch of black people on there spreading hatred and talking about white people like dogs? Hey, white people, right? I want to apologize for the way niggas on here talking about you. You know what I'm saying? It is not me, right? It is not all black people. All black people don't feel about you like these niggas on here. I want to be first and foremost from the nigga community to say it, right? We don't think of you like these black people on here think of you, right? I'm not responsible for these black people words. I want to put a disclaimer on all the niggas in the world, right? They do not speak for us.
You called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also
saying
know
why you'd that say the president. It's such a racist
There's
question.
Some people.
A globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well, frankly, not caring about our country so much. And you know what? We can't have that. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist.
I don't know. Why do I have my highest poll numbers ever with African Americans? Why do I have among the highest poll numbers with African Americans?
86% of Republicans say Trump isn't racist. 86% of Democrats say he is.
Right? Now I'm building up, right? We're not gonna get to remember, this is just the racist part of the video, right? the building up to the racism, right? I'm finna break it on down at the end of the video why they get a chance to talk like this and who behind them talking like this and who pay these people to talk like this, right? I'm finna build this shit up.
What's going on here?
What I will tell you is this, very plain and simple.
Okay.
Yes,
The Republican parties are not the ones that passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment?
Huh? They're not the ones that freed the slaves. We're not the one that passed the 14th, 13th, and 15th Amendment. You are, but she about to change history, right? This is how the Democrats and the liberals and black people, right, on the liberal side, change history.
Let me help you. And the Republican Party is not the party of the 13th and 14th Amendment anymore.
Do you know how many black families were separated during slavery?
And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
Your party is now one of oppression. Your party is the one that is pushing forth voter suppression legislation all throughout this country. Your party is the one that helped to ensure that Shelby versus Holder would gut the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Why is this shit doing this? Maybe because I'm stopping it so damn much. It's not catching up or something, right? But you see how she get a chance to change history? You are no longer the party that freed the slave. This is who you are now, right? So when black people hear that, and whatever organization she was, because she was from the Black Caucus, right? So she get to preach hate, right? She was inside the Black Caucus inside Washington, D.C. She was part of that, right? So she evidently she had some kind of community or organization or some kind of a platform where she could talk this shit, right? So when she preached this shit to other black people and they believe that shit, right? This is how racism get out and Democrats able to change history, right? They put everything in reverse and blame everything on the Republicans and say, now you're like this and back then you were still like that. And we're not going to blame you for all the shit the Democrats have done. I mean, we're not going to blame you. I mean, we're not going to blame the Democrats for all the shit they've done. We're going to blame you for it, right? And then we're going to say you continue the history. You were them. You switched parties. You switched ideas. And now you're on the Republican side. Used to be a Democrat. Used to be racist. Now, you see what I'm saying? They changing history.
Your party is the one in Pennsylvania where a GOP legislator said that these laws were put in place to ensure that Republicans would win back House, the Senate, the presidency. Let's be clear about what it is.
How can you solve this problem?
How can you solve this problem, right? We're leading up to the systemic racism, right? The president and his administration deny the extent of systemic racism as America demands justice, right? They don't demand that shit when Joe Biden in office. Joe Biden always say he's going to fight for it. Ain't nothing got done. But they don't demand it. They demand it under Donald Trump.
How can you solve this problem, the systemic racism that is killing people of color, if you won't even admit there is a problem?
Your party is living and thriving off of oppression.
Absolutely
Perhaps
not.
you were the party of anti-slavery and abolition back in the day, but that is not who you are today, sir. You're not going to do that today.
We are not that party, right? We are not that party. Republicans are not that party anymore. Even though we fighting for parents' rights, even though we fighting for women's rights, even though we fight for equal rights, right? Even though we pass laws in to make it easier for black people to vote, right? No Jim Crow laws, right? And shit like that, right? Even that we was making laws and stuff and building the economy to bring black people out of poverty. All that, we still are the party of racism. We're still not the party that helped free the slaves and fought over the Civil War over slavery. We're still not that party. We are the party of racism. Good looking out. Wait, hey, hold Joe Avery. Hold the donations. Wait. We gotta hold the donations. Hold the donations for right now. Don't give me no donation until you find out some shit you ain't found out about. Hold the donations until about 15 more minutes. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit, Joe Avery. Don't send me a dime, Joe Avery. I ain't proved nothing yet, Joe Avery. I ain't proved the evidence yet. Don't send me a dime. Send me a dime when the shit start getting juicy. I ain't read no stats yet, Joe Avery. Tom, tell them don't send no money. Tom, read in the chat. Tom, put in the chat, Tom. Tell them don't send no money right now, Tom. We're not doing no money. We got to do the money when I start doing the breakdown. This is the racist part. This part ain't shit. This is getting white people mad right here. This part right here ain't shit, right? I'm just getting white people mad right now, right? But when I get to the juicy breaking down and the shit like that, the lawsuits, then you send a donation. Not right now, Joe.
And this is personal for you.
That's correct. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors, so I take something like this very personally.
I love our country, and our country has taken second fiddle.
I've had my ancestry done.
I had my ancestry done. He's talking about he had his ancestry done. When you had your ancestry done at the dildo factory?
I've had my ancestry done twice. It is so hard to even find records.
There is a concern that you are sending coded language or a dog whistle to some Americans out there that what you really mean is that you're a white nationalist.
I've never even heard that. I cannot imagine that.
Huh? Well, you hear that? Oh, and when you say you're a nationalist, they saying you're a white nationalist. See how they flip the words around on Donald Trump? How now all of a sudden he say you're a nationalist, oh, now you're a white nationalist. Huh? You see how they try to flip it and try to see and put these words in the press and the newspapers and shit like that and asking questions about racism?
You mean
I never heard that
I'm a
expression.
nationalist? No, I never heard that theory.
That go back even 2 generations sometimes because what? The intentional separation of black families.
So in that sense, I am absolutely a nationalist, and I'm proud of it.
Many of us have seen the dangers when powerful white people decide they want something, they annex it. And they've never had a problem replacing the people who stand in their way.
Huh? The white people never had a problem with taking shit that don't belong to them, as the black ladies say. We get into the racist shit, y'all.
And no records. You know why? They were considered property.
By white people. That's who they was considered property by white people. All the white people up here, you was considered slave owner ancestries of people that were slave owners. You was property. I was a property. I wasn't a property. That's what black people say. We was property. White people.
We see American white people are going crazy. They're resorting to violence.
White people resorting to violence.
So it's God.
White people make him so mad. White people, you making Don Dick Sucker Lamont so mad.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
Y'all some violent motherfuckers, white conservative men. Y'all all some violent sons of bitches, according to Buckwheat. Buckwheat on here a lot. Buckwheat got a whole damn skit on here. Buckwheat on here a whole lot. Y'all racist sons of bitches. Y'all don't get what y'all want. You racist. Don't send no donations right now, you racist sons of bitches.
It just angers me sometimes that people can be so ignorant.
White people deputizing themselves in some position of authority to have jurisdiction over their life when they need to mind their blanking business.
White people, y'all need to mind y'all business, except when y'all donate to me. But other than that, y'all need to mind y'all damn business. Joe Everett, you need to mind your business. Tom, definitely, you need to mind your damn business, Tom. That's what she's saying. Where was James at? James Touche up in here? Al Bundy, you need to mind your damn business. Al. Andy Dillon, you need to mind your freaking business. You need to mind your damn business, Andy. Don't be all in niggas' business, Andy. Don't be all in niggas' business, Al Bundy.
Woke supremacy is as bad as white supremacy.
Oh, don't say that. That makes Don Dick Sucker Lamont so angry.
I don't think it's our responsibility to be tasked with destroying and dismantling the racial oppression that's against us. That's just saying we're more at fault than the white people who constructed this system and the white people who continue to practice institutional racism.
All y'all in here practice institutional racism. Y'all instituting these donations. Don't institute the donation right now. All y'all practice institutional racism. Y'all institutional racist towards niggas. Y'all ain't got no institution, no shit like that. Y'all ain't owning nothing, no shit like that. Y'all average, everyday, white working people. But according to these sons of bitches, you are the problem. You are not the solution. You sons of bitches is a problem. White people, they hate you. Like I say, look, I don't speak for all niggas, right? I don't speak for these niggas, right? I don't know if you can call these niggas. I don't know what kind of black people they is. You know, black people don't talk like this and niggas don't talk like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they call these people, right? Cause niggas not racist towards white people. We'll kick it with some white people. Right? And I said, I kick it with Zero. I kick it with my boy John all the time. 160 all the time, right? I kick it with white people. If Tom was out here, me and Tom be kicking and drinking beer, shooting at cans, right? We'd be running around, me and Tom be shooting at cans. That's Mexicans, Jamaicans, African, me and Tom hit. We'd be drunk shooting at cans. They can't call that shit racial. Like, hold on, they wait a minute. This can't be nothing racial. They got nigga and white boys shooting niggas. And they wasn't shooting particularly, they were shooting all cans. Like, this is not racial. They were shooting Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and Diet Sprite cans. Oh, it makes them so mad. White people make Don Diggler sucking Lamont so mad.
Do you want to explain who these woke supremacists are?
A majority of white people do not support policies that would unpack and unroll and reform this system of justice. This is what they want. Matt Gaetz is giving the white folks what they want.
I want the white folks to give me what I want. White folks, give me what I want. Give me what I need, white folks. Give me what I need.
Because I looked really carefully and I didn't. Hang on, before we go to the video. I haven't seen any woke supremacists. I've never seen a woke supremacist lynching anybody.
I saw him twerking in front of a 8-year-old. I saw him do that.
Never saw a woke supremacist denying anybody access to housing or job or education or voting rights.
I saw one of them in the little girl's bathroom. I saw that.
Never saw any woke supremacists enslaving anybody.
I saw one of them beat the shit out of two women on MMA. I saw that.
Never saw any woke supremacists trying to keep people from marrying amongst different races.
What? I saw a transsexual call a gay dude homophobic. I saw that.
Come on, Tim Scott.
White replacement can strangle culture. So yes, we should all be concerned about white replacement. It is, after all, a very threat to our survival here.
Whoa, white survival. Well, white donations is key to my survival, bitch. Don't be talking about white people on my channel. White people, disclaimer, this is not for all niggas. This is not me talking about this. If you don't get mad at some niggas, get mad at these niggas. Don't get mad at this nigga. Right? White people, I'm on your side. This is fucked up. How do people think about you?
I didn't see any woke supremacists storming the blanking Capitol.
It's like being constantly gaslit. We're constantly being told. I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist.
I'm told every day on air that I'm racist. You and Don Dick singing Lamont. It wasn't white. It wasn't woke supremacy. It was white supremacy.
Where are the woke supremacists attacking police? Where are the woke supremacists hunting police officers in the halls of the Capitol and beating them with Blue Lives Matter signs with white supremacist insignia on their shirts?
I saw niggas beating the shit out of police with Black Lives Matter shirts and dreads in their head. Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm.
Why is he crying? Don't do that. It's maddening to me. I'm calling out racism. They calling me racist because I'm calling out racism. That's why I'm so emotional. White people, you do this to people. You do this to people, white people. Hey, who sent me Pittsburgh Rick? You must have just came. Tom, I told you, look, Tom, tell people to don't send no donations until we get to the juicy shit. Tom, we're not doing donations right now, Pittsburgh Rick. Don't send me a dime right now. We still with the racist shit. I'm still getting white people mad, right? We still not to the juicy part. We still got about a couple of minutes of racist shit, you know what I'm saying, before we get to the juicy part. Don't send me a dime, Tom. Tell him, Tom.
I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
And carrying white supremacist paraphernalia. Guess who I saw? Guess who police officers were beaten by? Guess who wanted to hang the vice president? White supremacist, Tim Scott.
Guess who wanted to burn down the police department? Guess who was running around the streets of Seattle with guns and burning down buildings with kids up in it? Black Lives Matter, dick sucking Lamone.
And I wish that somebody who's a colleague of mine, like Alice, could at least acknowledge that fact. Like, that is so frustrating.
People that say that now the Republican Party is seen as supporting white nationalists because of your rhetoric. What do you make of that?
You see how this went step? You look, first it went from you're a nationalist to your ass is a white nationalist. Now it went from the whole damn Republican Party is supporting white nationalists, right? I want you to know right now, the same exact people after Kanye West is after Donald Trump, right? I'm going to expose it at the end, right? I'm going to expose it at the end of this video, right? We finna get the cracking, right? We finna get the cracking. That motherfucker said the whole Republican Party might be white supremacists right now. You're like, bitch, that's racist. Bitch, what the fuck is you talking about? Who pay you for this shit? Donald Trump know who paid this bitch for this shit. Donald Trump, one of Donald Trump's first wars when he came into office was with these motherfuckers. People don't remember it. I didn't remember it because I didn't know about it, right? But we're gonna expose it at the end of this video. You're like, bitch, that's racist, bitch. What the fuck? Now, wait, the whole Republican Party might be racist. Let me play that shit again. The whole Republican Party might be racist because of your statement. Like, bitch, that's racist, bitch. Who the fuck says a shit like that?
Well, that
the whole party is racist because of your statement, bitch. Who said that? Point me to him. Is that a stat? Who the fuck said that? Who did you ask this?
people that say that now the Republican Party is seen as supporting white nationalists because of your rhetoric. What do you make of that?
No, the Republican Party support white nationalists because he said I'm a nationalist and I love my country. Oh no. Now he's like, bitch, that's racist.
I don't believe.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
The only black Republican were the woke supremacists carrying the Confederate battle flag in the nation's capital. Tim Scott. Tim!
He's so mad at Tim. Tim! What are you doing? You supporting white nationalists. Tim!
I mean, why do I have my highest poll numbers? That's such a racist question.
Bitch, you racist.
Tim, I have to. I know you don't want me to yell, but this is ridiculous. You are gaslighting people. You are giving people misinformation.
You're giving people misinformation. You're gaslighting people, right? This nigga's paid. We finna get to the pay and who paying this nigga in a minute, right? If you wasn't here, right? Look, if you ain't here, right? All these stats right here, look, I'm finna show you right now, Tom. I'm finna show them right now. All these stats, I haven't read one of these stats right here. How many it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We ain't got to none of this shit yet. We ain't got to none of this shit. All these signs Kanye put up in here about look at this shit right here. Every single aspect of the Trump campaign is funded by Jewish money. Lying son of a bitch. Every aspect of God is Jewish, right? These are lying sons of bitches. They got names and pamphlets and newspapers and shit. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't into this, right? This not none of the important stats. This right here, when I get to doing this shit, then you can send a donation. When I get to reading some of these stats right here, you can send a donation. Don't send no damn donation right now. I ain't read none of these stats yet. I ain't read none of that shit. We ain't got to none of the good part. Huh? We ain't got none of the juicy details.
What are you doing, brother?
Brother!
Honestly, I mean, I know you have it written down and you're going to tell me. Let me tell you, it's a racist question.
Talk to you about
you racist,
hate.
bitch.
I want to talk about fear mongering. I want to talk about a blatantly racist appeal by President Trump and his party.
An ad that the president tweeted today, an ad that shows you just how willing he is to use lies and scare tactics to terrify his base.
And Ms.
Lies and scare tactics to terrify his base. You see this shit? They racist white people. You see how they added on? See all this fake news? You know what I'm saying? I feel let you know why they finna get to the fake news. But hold on, we having fun. A couple of more minutes of this racist shit before we get into the juicy shit. A couple of more minutes. This shit is hilarious. We got to do a couple of more minutes.
And Mr. President,
I love it. You know what the word is? I love our country. I do.
I've been treated very unfairly by this judge. Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall.
You racist. You racist for saying the judge is racist. This Mexican is hating on me, right? Because I'm building the wall to keep his people out, right? Why you say that? You racist.
Okay, I'm building a wall.
Crowds tearing down fences. We don't know where. We don't even know if it's in the United States.
They trying to say Donald Trump was lying, right? Donald Trump was lying because you want to build a wall, you know what I'm saying? Because you got people tearing down the caravans and shit right here, right? Now, Trump was telling the truth. Now they seeing all this shit coming over and all if he wouldn't have built a wall. Look at this shit. Remember all this shit? We coming over here by the millions. Now they coming over here, don't even get no resistance.
It's in the United States, swarming the streets. It's a naked appeal to fear and hate is what it is, and it is racist. The president has always used fear to his advantage.
Because race is the one to keep immigrants out. We don't know who they is busting down gates and flooding the border in caravans. Is racist to stop them.
First, he wanted everyone to be afraid of the caravan, people he called invaders, even though they were 1,000 miles away.
I'm telling you that it's a problem in this White House with the staff, and the reason why is because it's slim pickings. You know why? Because nobody wants to go work for a racist.
Nobody wants to go work for a racist. Donald Trump is racist.
I am going to do very well with the Hispanics, the Mexicans.
So
everybody.
no Mexican judge could ever be involved in a case that involves you?
You guys know this policy is inhumane, plain and simple. Like, if you just take yourselves out of it for just a moment, take off the lenses of bigotry for just a moment.
And, you know, we messaged about this a little bit this weekend. I keep trying to point out to people not to demonize any one group or any one ethnicity.
Wait a minute. You said don't demonize one group. I keep on telling people not to demonize one group or one ethnicity. Okay. Trump supporters is a group. MAGA is a group. White people is a group. I'm finna say don't demonize them, right? But then I'm finna demonize every single last one of them motherfuckers.
But we keep thinking that the biggest terror threat is something else.
So then the president tried to whip up fear by sending troops to the border, again, to combat a non-existent threat from refugee families, women, and children. Some people who are marching, you know, towards the border like it's imminent. And when the last time they did this, a couple hundred people came, and they, you know, most of them did get into the country. Most of them got tuckered out before they even made it to the border.
He's a member of a society where, very pro-Mexico, and that's fine. It's all fine.
So we have to stop demonizing people. And
you hear this? We have to stop demonizing people. He's saying for Donald Trump to stop demonizing immigrants, but he finna demonize white people, Trump supporters, MAGA, and all that. You hear him? We've got to stop demonizing people, and right after that, he demonized people.
And realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
And
we're not going to demonize people. I keep on telling people not to demonize people, but most of the extremists are white male, most of them to the right. But don't demonize nobody.
Okay, so now we're getting into the name calling. Yes, we are. I'm calling this process, this procedure is absolutely based on bigotry and fear mongering.
You had said that there were Middle Easterners in the caravan. Can you explain that? Are you saying there are terrorists in that caravan at this moment?
There could very well be. And if you look at...
Do you know for sure?
I have very good information.
And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them.
There is no ban on, they had the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban.
We're not going to demonize them, right? But they terrorists, they're extreme, and you can't ban them. But we don't want to demonize white folks. Oh, this is so racist. Sorry, white folks. The gay man don't speak for me.
Are you saying that you have evidence that there are terrorists in the caravan?
And I think it deserves exploring a little bit more. A recent Quinnipiac University poll has a striking result. 49% of people said that they believe President Donald Trump to be a racist, while 47% believe he's not. So 49%, that's half of the country.
You don't understand that your president announced his campaign by talking about building a wall to keep
our president,
your president
Angela.
keeping not mine. I will never claim a bigot.
She will never claim a bigot. You see all the division? You see all the racism, right? You see all this old shit? So if you voted for this bigot, you were bigot because you voted for the wall. Something he ran on. So everybody up here must be a damn bigot. Yeah, hold on, we about to get to the juicy part. We got about 3 more minutes of this shit, right? I ought to extend it to 10 more minutes of the racist shit just to get white people more mad.
Bigot, ever.
I spoke with Border Patrol this morning, and I spoke to him last evening, and I spoke to him the day before. I speak to him all the time. And they say, and you know this as well as anybody, over the course of the year, over the course of a number of years, they've intercepted many people from the Middle East.
86% of Republicans say Trump isn't racist. 86% of Democrats say he is. What's going on here?
Republicans know Donald Trump ain't racist, right? And Democrats was taught to say he racist, right? But as soon as his ass is out of office, this is way before, this is like when Donald Trump was first in office, right? But now that number has declined on he is racist, right? And the number has rose on he ain't racist. Believe that is way more Democrats believing Donald Trump ain't racist right now, right? Or believe he still is racist and still preferring to be president than the president right now. Huh? Disclaimer.
But no proof that they're in the caravan now.
There's no proof of anything.
Setting on so many levels, it keeps happening. And as you'll hear shortly, there are calls for something different to be done this time, potentially prosecution for these individuals, which...
Right? They want to prosecute the people that's supporting Kanye West now, right? Throwing pamphlets in people's yards, right? Now, it's freedom of speech and people throw newspapers and free pamphlets and all that shit in people's yard all the time. But since these black people doing it and they with Kanye West, they trying to charge them with a hate crime, right? But you have people throwing pamphlets and all kind of news articles and Christian magazine and all kind of shit. But now, it's a hate crime, y'all. Right? They can turn you into a criminal by making laws anytime they want to out of thin air.
You know, they are protected by free speech, but what if anything can be done? We'll explore that. But first, just a little bit on the background of these flyers. Many were found in multiple cities in and around Beverly Hills, Westwood, Brentwood, just to name a few.
And we are living basically at this point, Katie, in a justocracy. I think the technical political science term is cryptarchy. I don't really understand what that means. It is we are in a situation where laws passed by Congress or orders given by the president to branches of government that the people are allowed to elect don't matter until the Supreme Court weighs in.
He would be unacceptable.
Now they're talking about Herschel Walker, right? Now they put a bunch of black people in place, right? Now we're gonna get into who paying these black people to say this shit, right? In a few minutes, right? Now they put these black people in place, right, to tear white people down and tear black people down. Anybody that's against their agenda, right? Anybody, right? If you're against their agenda, Tim Scott, Herschel Walker, right? They're gonna tear these black men down. Clarence Thomas, right? They're gonna tear all these black men down because they're against the agenda. Kanye West.
Just the violence against women, not just the abortion, but the fact that he hasn't taken care of his children. Yeah. And you know what? That's a stereotype of black men.
They want to make it so people can't bring you water while you're in the line to vote. Why doesn't Herschel Walker want to break bed with people who are voting in Georgia? That would be a nice use of his time. Go hand out bread and water to people who are standing in line to vote in Georgia. I bet he won't.
Because he ain't Jesus. He wanted to break bread and water right in a line. Nigga, he ain't Jesus. He running for line. Senator Warnock ain't doing it. Who in the fuck is supposed to be campaigning and he going out handing bread and water out? This nigga say some of the most stupidest shit in the world. You would think this nigga old and like 60 years old, but this nigga 3 years younger than me, right? This nigga old, young as a son of a bitch, but they get him on here to make him look old, to make him look sophisticated, say a bunch of shit, right? But he's supposed to be a writer, but he's not more educated than me, right? He don't have as much experience to talk on shit than me, right? They might as well get a nigga like me to get on here and say some shit like this. Right? They hire a nigga out of nowhere who's supposed to be a writer because he talk good, right? And he can be racist. And he can be animated when he be racist. Right?
Too, that black men don't take care of their children. Completely untrue, but he lives down to it.
If he understood that Donald Trump was not the country, then he would see that the FBI search of a defeated criminal was not a political search. It was an investigation into a person who stole top secret documents from the White House.
Now, a black man, he not only can talk about black people in a racist manner, he also can talk about white people, and he can't be judged, right? But it's a reason why he talk about white people. I'm going to tell you why when we get to the end of this video, not to the end, in a couple of minutes.
White House, right? Like that's a somewhat simple law enforcement position.
Never going to stand a chance against the brilliance of somebody like Raphael Warnock. So is this just a throwaway for the GOP at this point?
You see how this is, right? You see how she get to be openly racist? Is Herschel Walker a throwaway? Is this just a throwaway? They pay these people to be racist. Talking about a black man is a throwaway.
It's going to work for Republicans until voters start punishing them for putting forward these clown candidates, right?
And that's awfully convenient as well for what Donald Trump thinks about black people.
But McCarthy can't see it that way because he's melded Trump and his own political career and the interests of the American people all into one thing. That's why we call them a cult, right? But
you a cult. You got somebody black on here calling you a cult, calling you racist, every word in the book. But the people who own the channel ain't saying nothing about it. They're allowed to go on.
But they're not doing the work in their own party of stopping these people at the primary stage, right? Because the Trumpers have completely taken over that party. The inmates are running the asylum, and it's the crazy people now who are in charge of that party.
They boasted conspiracy theories about Jewish people starting the pandemic and a slew of other things. And what you're looking at now is a disturbing scene that was captured on a 405 freeway overpass Saturday.
Is anybody kind of getting a hint what I'm leading up to, what I'm putting these clips up to? Because it's finna start getting into the detail, right? Anybody see what I'm putting these clips up to? You got a black man talking about racism, and you got Kanye West, right, and other black men talking about Jewish people. I'm finna combine the two.
That sign read, "Kanye is right about the Jews," referring to his recent anti-Semitic posts.
Look, a lot of folks in that Capitol insurrection.
What about the anti-white posts, right? They don't say anything about the anti-white shit. You can get on here and be anti-white anytime you want to. And ain't nobody gonna say shit about it.
Some of these folks were white women. And I know we're talking a lot about Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, but I do think that some of the white women who have adopted this ideology, is America ready to face the fact that some of those folks look like people they have elevated and put on a pedestal of being untouchable?
White folks, white women, right? They can get on here and talk about white women, white kids, white men. Now they can talk about white women because guess what? They got a black woman. It would have been disrespectful for a black man to talk about a black woman. So guess what they got? A white woman, right? To talk about all the white women, right? So the only way this man can be racist towards that white woman is she bring up the shit first, and then he tag on to it, right? That's the thing. Like kind of in comedy, right? You can't, or and shit like that. You can't be disrespectful, and you can add on to it. Now, if you was to bring up the conversation, it'll seem disrespectful. But since you got a black woman on there to bring it up, you got black men who can add on to it.
And then hours later, early Sunday morning, is when these flyers were found on driveway doorsteps, car windshields, all in Westwood, Brentwood, Beverly Hills, and Bel Air.
See, and one of America's most
Here
prominent
we go.
outspoken.
Here we go. We finna get into the juicy thing now. If you start finding out some shit, right, you don't know, right, you need to send a nigga a donation, right? We finna get into the stats And all that, we finna get into the stats, right? We finna get into who, you know what I'm saying? But we still got some racist shit coming on, right? But we got some stats. Now we finna get into the juicy details and we finna get into the exposing. So if you stayed in this long, you stayed in and you came at the right time. If you came in at the right time, like I say, don't send a nigga a donation until I start hitting some points or saying some shit you don't know nothing about, right? Like I say, Fox ain't covering this shit. CNN ain't gonna cover this shit. NBC ain't gonna cover this shit, right? You ain't gonna read about it. None of it. You only gonna see this shit on here. Let's get into it. I mean, you can see this shit, but ain't nobody gonna put it together like I did, right? But let's get into this shit. Huh? Who is behind racism in America? Huh? I'm finna pinpoint who is promoting this shit. I'm finna pinpoint it, right? And you can't say Kanye West is wrong, because I'm finna prove that nigga right. Let's get into it.
Outspoken civil rights activists. And now Al Sharpton, along with Comcast and Time Warner Cable, are facing a $20 billion lawsuit.
Wait a minute. You say Comcast, right? Know the name Comcast, right? Did you hear? Comcast is facing a racial discrimination lawsuit. How many people knew about Comcast and Comcast racist history, right? Comcast racist history. But that's not all, y'all, right? We're not just going to talk about Comcast racist history. We're going to get into some other shit Comcast into, right? Because we finna get into the meat of the details. You ain't going to see this shit nowhere. But except me. You probably going to see this shit on Fox later. If somebody from Fox looking at this channel, I bet you see this on Fox in a couple of days. Fox, if you seen this shit, you better send a nigga a donation, Fox.
Ooh, this is a cutthroat business. Comcast sharpening its knives, looking to make yet another last-minute bid for Fox business parent company 21st Century Fox's entertainment assets.
Huh? So Comcast into some racist shit, right? Now also Comcast into some what we call this, right? Illegal trade shit, right? As far as selling and buying shit, right? So now Comcast in the illegal trading and they into some racist shit. They into suing and they into getting sued, right? Let's get into it. I mean, they're getting sued by both ways, right? They're getting sued by everybody. Comcast, why is Comcast so? Y'all keep on telling y'all. I know what you're thinking in your mind. Why is Comcast so fucking important? What is Comcast doing in the first two clips? Why is Black Rosebud talking about Comcast, right? Oh, wait a minute. I told him time. What time at? We finna get to the meat of this shit time. We finna get to the meat of this shit time. Huh?
Over alleged racial discrimination against black-owned media companies.
Huh? Comcast has got a lawsuit. Got hit with a lawsuit, right? Over discrimination for black-owned media companies, right? But most of the clips I covered, right, about black people being racist, right? Black people being racist, right? It was, guess what? I ain't gonna tell you right now. I don't let them tell you. I ain't gonna tell you right now, right? But they're getting sued. Comcast getting sued from everybody.
Cutthroat, a bid that they hope could undercut Disney's $52 billion offer. Well, they already came out with one of them. Now they want to up it even more. But there's one very gigantic roadblock.
Who do you think that roadblock is, right? Who do you think that roadblock is? They're trying to undercut somebody. They already done some illegal merger, right? I'm not gonna get into the rest of it until I'm gonna let them tell you. It's all kind of shit Comcast is doing. But who you think got in Comcast's way? No other than your motherfucking president.
Comcast shares moving lower, now down about 1% after President Trump tweeted, quote, American Cable Association has big problems with Comcast. They say that Comcast routinely violates antitrust laws. Quote, these guys are acting much worse and have much more potential for damage to consumers.
Huh? I want you to remember his name, Charlie Calypso, too, right? These guys are acting much worse and have much more potential for damaging to consumers than AT&T, right? Who got sued, right? And Warner and Time Warner, right? Right? This is something Donald Trump, right? This is something Donald Trump retweeted, right? But this is somebody, Charlie got his statement up in here, right? I got him saying the statement, right? But this is something, right? Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, and Comcast is beefing, right? People didn't know that him and Comcast was beefing. Comcast, like, they hit motherfuckers with antitrust laws and all kind of shit. These motherfuckers is not to be trusted, right? They not to be trusted.
Than anything AT&T Time Warner would do.
I don't mind, but I don't think it's a good look for you. Let me just ask you about the president's abuse of power over the weekend. Here's what he tweeted about Comcast. He called Comcast a great American company, Comcast. He said people should drop them and go to a good provider.
Huh? People should drop them and go to a good provider, right? They were trying to hit Donald Trump. Oh, but that's illegal. You should be telling people that, right? You didn't hear Comcast say anything about it, did you? You hear other people talking about it. Comcast didn't say shit, right? Huh? Comcast didn't say a damn thing. Drop their ass and get with a hero. Comcast didn't say shit because guess what? Comcast know they crooked. I hope Comcast ain't listening to me.
Lee.
It's not me. It's the Trump Justice Department. We should point out that Comcast, according to sources at the Justice Department, is now on their radar screen. Those are the quotes that people inside the Justice Department is using. We should point out that before they think about growing at all, they have a 6-year window on the conditions that were put on place. I guess the temporary conditions for the NBC Universal deal.
Right? Comcast bought NBC. It was supposed to be a time period, right? Because of fair trade laws and shit like that, right? Where they had to wait a period of time before they could buy something else. They were still trying to buy merge other companies and stuff like that, right? Inside of that 6-year period. Trump said, hell no, you can't do that, you crooked sons of bitches. Comcast. But wait a minute, there's more to come. If you feel free to donate now, you can come on with it, right? Because I know you didn't know this shit about Comcast, but we're going to keep on going.
That is up in September, from what I understand.
How is that not an abuse of the president's power as president, using his platform in that way?
Now, this comes after today the American Cable Association called on the Department of Justice to open an investigation into the business practices of Comcast NBC Universal, which is, of course, CNBC's parent company.
Bad. I think they're very...
Which is CNBC, a parent company, right? And what company, right, used to work? What company Donald Trump Apprentice show used to come on, right? Wasn't that NBC? And NBC owned by Comcast? Huh? Think about it. NBC is owned by Comcast. Donald Trump got a problem with Comcast. Remember this speech?
They're very bad for our country. The owners of Comcast, rotten company.
Now, in the complaint, Byron Allen, a comedian, TV presenter, and CEO of Entertainment Studios, alleges that Comcast gave Al Sharpton that 6 p.m. show on MSNBC, for which he's been paid approximately $750,000 per year, despite notoriously low ratings, and in exchange for his continued public support for Comcast.
Now, do you obviously think any black people watch any of these other black people, right, on this network? It's white people that's watching Al Sharpton. It's white people that's watching Don Lemon. It's white people that's watching Joy Reid. It's white. Don't no black people know them. It's white people that's watching the other girl. I forgot her name. It's white people that's watching these people. It's not niggas watching these people. They got a high white audience, right? So when you say somebody's paying somebody, Comcast is paying these people to be openly racist against black people. Huh? We ain't through yet. You feel free to donate, go ahead and donate. You know what I'm saying? But they doing this shit so black people can be openly racist against black people. It's not about the ratings. They don't care about the ratings because they don't give a fuck about the money.
On issues of diversity.
Bad for our country, very bad. They try, they have all these PR things to try and keep their image nice and clean. What they do on television is so disgusting.
What they do on TV is so disgusting, right? Comcast, people didn't know Donald Trump was at war with Comcast, right? He didn't know about the regulations and the Fair Trade Act and all the shit that they was trying to break, right? They didn't say nothing about that, right? So Comcast is crooked, Comcast is racist, and we finna get into why they crooked and why they racist and who behind this shit, right? I ain't hit you with the juicy shit. I mean, I've been hitting you with some juicy shit, right? But it gets juicier and juicier and juicier. Just hold on. If it's so I get more juicier.
What do you say about this wing of white women who?
Because this is what they can put on, like Donald Trump. Do you see the shit that they put on TV? Right? This is the shit that they put on TV. MSNBC. Owned by who? Comcast.
Who have been radicalized and are enablers to this very dangerous domestic terrorism movement that we've seen increase quite rapidly.
It's Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Who else on MSNBC? Joy Reid.
It reminded a lot of people of something. The Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
Yes, I know. Megyn Kelly, the blackface expert, had a lot to say about me this week based on something I actually never said.
In which Brett Kavanaugh cried his way through the hearings.
Please make a list for your white Santa and pray to your white Jesus for a life. Please.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears.
So I just want to tell her, you swung and you missed. Please, girl, move on with your life. It's giving obsessed. And honestly, guys, the Jesus and Santa are white lady is not going to crawl her way back to social relevance on my show. Besides, didn't I murk her once already?
Particularly male white tears.
Yeah, it must be deja vu. Either that or I'm catching body number 2, which brings me to another problematic white woman who warrants some attention this week.
Real simple. The cable industry.
Huh? Do you hear that? Do you hear the shit that they putting on TV? Huh? Now this dude, Byron Allen, who's a comedian and entrepreneur, finna bust him out on everything, right? He finna bust him out on everything. How Comcast is openly racist. He got shows with him and stuff like that, and he won his lawsuit because they settled out of court. But before that, they were suing his ass. They only settled out of court to shut his ass up because he was exposing too much about Comcast.
AT&T, DirecTV, Comcast, Time Warner, they spent about $50 billion a year licensing cable networks and advertising, with less than $3 million per year going to 100% African-American owned media. Now what they do is they make token donations to people like Al Sharpton, the NAACP, the Urban League, and after taking those donations, they negotiated a fraudulent MOU that says this is okay for black people to live by.
Right? And who they got on MSNBC now? They got 4 or 5 niggas, Joy Reid, these Tiffany Cross, Al Sharpton, right? They got all these so-called people that's speaking up for black people on these networks, right? Speaking for black people, right? And they saying some of the most racist shit in representation of black folks.
And so here we are, celebrating the birth of a nation, independence for white men.
I don't need to sit down and have dinner with him because I don't care if he's a nice guy, right? My article about him wasn't even really about him. It was about his Republican handlers. It was about the white conservative handlers that dredged this guy up out of Texas, which is where he lives, not Georgia, dredged him up to run against Raphael Warnock. Why? Because Raphael Warnock is black. Yeah, see, the problem with Kevin McCarthy and his band of insurrectionist co-conspirators is that they now think that the country is whatever Donald Trump wants it to be, right? I'm not sure that we should be trying to restore confidence in this corrupt 6-3 conservative control court, quite frankly. Like they don't deserve confidence. They are corrupt. And so what does the Republican Party do? Do they have an outreach to black voters in Georgia? No. All they come for with black voters in Georgia is voter suppression. That's all you get from the Republicans if you're a black voter in Georgia. So
you hear what they saying on MSNBC, what they're allowing to say on MSNBC? This is supposed to be a voice for black people, right? This is a black man talking about suppression and voter suppression and how racist this person is and how this person is sell out and how he can't have dinner with this person, right? They got this dude on here, right? He's a paid racist. He's a paid divider. He's a paid, right, host. He's a paid whatever you want to fucking call it. But he's paid to do this.
So when McCarthy says that the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago was an attack on democracy, he can only say that because in his warped mind, Donald Trump is the country.
What America needs to understand is that Al Sharpton does not speak for me. Al Sharpton does not speak for black people.
I think in the old days you had to have licenses for this stuff, right? They can say whatever they want to say. Let's see what happens over the next.
Huh? They can say whatever they want to say on Comcast. He's talking about Comcast. People trying to say they have a good they're trying to clean up their vision and all this by hiring all these black folks and stuff like that, right? But they hire black folks to get on here and be the most racist sons of bitches you ever want to see on TV, huh? Donald Trump they say what they want to say. Let's see what happens in a couple of years. And what happened in a couple of years? They hired more black people to be more racist.
What we didn't see were enough voices willing to point out the deeper, festering rot that's plagued this nation since it was born. People who neither discovered nor built this land have been led to believe that America is theirs and theirs alone.
I don't think that is a good example of a functioning democracy. So I don't think that confidence should be restored in the Supreme Court. I think power should be taken from the Supreme Court. Like that is the definition of a cult of personality. They have raised Trump up to demagogue status until the Republican voters of a place like Georgia, of a place like Iowa, of a place like Arizona, until the Republican voters stop voting for these yahoos, there will continue to be yahoos, right? Our Supreme Court has become overpowered, and it's become willing to basically execute a veto over the other two branches of government. And I like to point out, nobody gets to elect these 9 judicial wizards who apparently rule over all of us.
You see how he get to say, right? How he get to talk about the Supreme Court, right? How he got to talk about, he get to talk freely. Don't nobody on no other channel get to talk like this. You can't talk on a local channel like this. You can't be this openly racist on any other outlet like this, right? You only can do this shit on MSNBC or guess what? Fox News. I mean, CNN News, right? Supposedly, right? CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, all this old shit that's owned by who? Comcast, right? Right? Because what? Comcast already got hit with racist shit. They didn't give black people opportunity. Now they're giving them too much opportunity, right? And the opportunity they're getting is black people like this.
Will this democracy survive? Well, a Yahoo News poll says no. But perhaps when you build a nation on stolen land with stolen labor, it was never going to be a republic we could keep.
It's like I ask people, who is the white person who speaks for you? It's racist to even believe that Al Sharpton is the go-to person.
Marjorie Taylor Greene to Congress, right? So Republican voters in Georgia are clearly not particularly, they don't really care about what these people are going to do so long as there's an R behind their name and they feel like those people will own the libs. And there are various ways to do that, but unlike the first part of our conversation where I was talking about executive actions that Biden can do with a snap of his fingers and a stroke of his pen, controlling the Supreme Court really does require Congress and requires a larger majority of people in Congress willing to cut the power out from the Supreme Court.
Right? Now, who's mainly preaching Supreme Court and shit like that? Whenever Joe Biden talk about expanding the Supreme Court and all this old shit, democracy and all this old shit, he mostly do it in front of black crowds. Who MSNBC got on here talking about black people and democracy in the Supreme Court and expanding the Supreme Court? Black people. They delivering Joe Biden message, right? And it's a method behind their madness.
And they can no longer disassociate what's good for Trump versus what's good for America. So I support court expansion, obviously, to dilute the impact of these Christian fundamentalist judges.
Christian fundamentalist judges, right? He's against Christian fundamentalist judges. That's why he want to have the court expanded, but he want non-Christians, right, on the fucking Supreme Court. This is what The MSNBC channel is ready to is being able to preach. And I'm about to get who's behind this shit.
Well, I don't think there are going to be repercussions because she is a white Republican woman, quite frankly, right? What makes people think that this radical conservative Supreme Court, which just thumbed its nose at 50 years of settled legal precedent, would allow a congressional law protecting Roe v. Wade?
He gets to talk about Roe v. Wade. He gets to talk about the Supreme Court. He gets to talk about Herschel Walker. He gets to talk about Clarence Thomas, right? He gets to talk about Donald Trump. He gets to talk about racism. He gets to talk about every negative thing, right? Or every divisive thing in America, right? And he gets to run on it and make the country more divisive, right? Ain't nothing he's saying is uniting the country. Everything he's saying is more divisive, right? And it's a key and it's a strategy to this.
I'll tell you the answer. They won't. They will overturn that law before breakfast. So if you want to get serious about protecting women's rights and the rights of the LGBTQ community and the rights of non-believers, then you have to expand the Supreme Court.
Shame on you, Sony, for thinking sit down with Al Sharpton and that negates your racist emails about President Obama.
Bunch of dishonest people. Comcast, terrible company, terrible people running that company.
So it's real simple. These token donations they make to him, as reported in the New York Post, allows them to have racial cover.
Racial cover, right? Racial cover. This is before the lawsuit come. He was exposed. He got the lawsuit. They had to stop him from talking, right? It allows MSNBC to have racial cover because they pay people like Al Sharpton, right? And Tiffany Cross and Joy Reid, right? And a whole damn panel to be racist. Openly racist.
Show cover.
You mean to Donald Trump? Yes. Donald Trump is the person who was the casting director for much of the Republican field. And so he told you what he thinks of black men.
This is why we're not getting enough advertising or any advertising from McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Chrysler and General Motors and AT&T.
Because they pay black people off to shut the fuck up. They pay these people off like Al Sharpton and MSNBC and people who work for that, right? And any black media outlet, right? Like Black News Network. That's why that motherfucker closed down, right? You know what I'm saying? Somebody for Fox was trying to hopefully help them out, but that closed down because guess what? The black people didn't support the Black News Network. Check it out. Somebody from Fox. Right? Somebody from Fox started that like, I'm going to give you black sons of business opportunity. Guess what? They was reporting too much black news and black people didn't want to hear because they were being too openly racist, right? And black people didn't want to hear all that shit and they closed down, they buckled, right? Everything that came on was racist, right? The thing about this show right here, they can't close down even though their ratings is fucked up because they owned by MSNBC, right? And they not paid, right, to do host and boost ratings. They host to spread racism, right? You can, they ratings is low, but you can put that shit on Facebook. You can put that shit on Twitter. You can take clips out there, sound bites out there, and you can run with that shit. Put that shit all on social media, right? So this is what they run with, right? They're not getting any views. They're not getting any followers. They're not getting any sponsors. They're not getting any of that shit because ain't nobody watching that shit. If that was the case, Black News Network was way better than any show they got that's black producer, black hosted on fucking MSNBC. And they closed that whole son of a bitch down. Huh?
That, from what I understand from people inside the DOJ, could be revisited. So before they think...
When it's up, good luck finding Fox Business on the Comcast dial.
Right. Well, they may have to
try and hide it.
No, but here's the problem. That what I think what you're going to see here, and there's a couple of things. We're going to see the AT&T DOJ trial, to break that up, right? DOJ is going after AT&T, Time Warner, to break up that deal.
DOJ going after AT&T to break up that deal, right? DOJ is going after AT&T to break up that deal. Right, where we at? AT&T. AT&T. We on here. AT&T. Is AT&T on here? Not right there. 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 Okay, AT&T ain't on there. Okay, is this it? No, this is not it. It's not on there. It's not on there. AT&T, right? AT&T. My bad. I thought AT&T.
And you know,
I thought I googled AT&T, right? I thought I googled AT&T.
you know what? I had Celebrity Apprentice. I had The Apprentice on
Comcast, on MSNBC, right? Remember, right? MSNBC supposed to be a racist channel because they was owned by Comcast, supposed to have a lot of racist content, right? So why nobody said nothing when they hired the racist man from the racist man, right? And has a so-called racist show. They didn't say anything about that, right? With Comcast's racist history, right? But look at Donald Trump, it exposed their ass.
for 14 seasons. 14 seasons. And they used to come to my office and they would kiss my ass. Please sign. Please sign. Please.
They're going to use what they believe is the failure of the Comcast NBC Universal merger to help consumers as a reason to break that deal up because they don't like the Trump Justice Department. Their mantra is they hate the concentration of media assets, particularly with distribution.
Right? I hate the attributions, right? Let me see. I thought I had that up here. Let me check one more time. I could have swore I had that up here. AT&T. No, not that right there. We ain't getting to these right. We ain't getting to these right. We ain't getting to these right. We ain't getting into none of this. I thought I had that. I thought I had. Oh, here you go, right here. Boom. Right. Oh no, that's still not it. We can. That's later on in the skit. Damn it! I must have forgot that. I put so many stats on here. I must have forgot that stat.
Please sign. You know, it's an interesting story. They came and we signed. You know who signed me? Jeff Zucker.
Right? Jeff Zucker signed Donald Trump to MSNBC. Comcast, right? Mark Zucker, we finna get into it. Mark Zucker right here said, Mark Zucker was born into a Jewish family. Huh? So Mark Zuckerberg is a Jew, right? The person that signed Donald Trump, right, and right to MSNBC, and when Donald Trump declined the contract with MSNBC and ran for president, right, the executive producer, whatever, Jeff Zucker, right, was the same person that hired Donald Trump, that tried to get Donald Trump fired. Think about it. Remember the what's it called? You know the little investigation thing. I can't. Veritas, Project Veritas. Remember Project Veritas done a secret documentary and hidden camera on CNN employees and stuff like that, and they was talking about how Jeff Zucker was telling him to do this and telling him to say that, and now his ass got fired. The same person, right? The same Jewish person that hired Donald Trump, that Donald Trump turned down the contract to, right? Tried to get Donald Trump fired in the White House with propaganda. Huh? Think about it, y'all. If you want to, you consider donation. You want to, you consider donation. I mean, if we're adding shit up, right, we're going to keep on going. We want to, y'all can add, consider donation. But Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Zucker, right, hired Donald Trump. And he was the main person with the propaganda behind Donald Trump. And what was he? Jewish.
They don't spend any money with African-American owned media.
So what you have here is a concerted effort against Comcast, them being on the radar screen for two reasons. Number one, they hate the deal. They think it's bad for consumers. They think they're going to use their problems with that deal to try to break up AT&T, Time Warner.
Something that's very alarming, AT&T spent more money on Al Sharpton's lavish 60th birthday than they spent on Ebony Magazine, the biggest African-American magazine in America, around 70 years, 10 million readers per month.
Right? They giving more money to the person to spread the fake information to a company that gives the real information. They don't want to look to, we're going to give you $30,000 and we're going to give him $75,000, $100,000 for his birthday. Look at the difference. Look how they celebrate. Look how they treat their house niggas, right? MSNBC, right? CNN, down in the mall, All them other phrases people you saw in the first person, who was their leader? Jeff Zucker controlled them. Who got fired? Everybody who worked for Jeff Zucker on CNN, huh? Including Jeff Zucker. Why? Because Donald Trump was out of office, their ratings went down and shit like that, and they were still trying to do all this other Donald Trump shit. And guess who got fired? All this online conspiracy shit. Jeff Zucker. Who was doing the time bomb? Oh, tick, 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 tock, Russian collusion, MSNBC.
I think this is something that Comcast has to worry about for a couple of reasons. I've done some reporting on this. We should point out that Trump did attack him today. He mentioned it sort of obliquely, right? Licenses.
Walmart has given money to Al Sharpton. Walmart doesn't spend any money in Ebony Magazine, and they barely do business with me in a long-term partnership. AT&T spent only $30,000 on that magazine.
Question mark.
He wasn't very oblique.
Well, he didn't say I'm going after their license. As you know, telecommunication firms are highly regulated.
Donald Trump was going after Comcast license, right? They had to get Donald Trump out of there, right? Why do you think MSNBC and all these people were trying to get Donald Trump out there so bad, right? All these fake allegations and shit like that. Because he was going after their ass for legal trades and legal regulations and all that shit, right? Because they were doing illegal shit. Comcast. But you got to understand, there's some people behind Comcast, right? We're going to get into the people behind Comcast in a few minutes, right? It ain't Mark Zucker. It ain't him. Jeff Zucker. It ain't him. He was just a puppet. That's why his ass was fired. He got bosses.
Comcast bought NBCU 5 years ago. There was a bunch of terms and conditions established that ran out, I believe, over the weekend. But here is the problem that I think Comcast has, is that it's not just the president that is skeptical of, doesn't like them, it's skeptical of their business model, vertically integrated, combining distribution, massive distribution with programming.
Massive distribution with programming, right? They was going to try to run a monopoly, right? And when you have run a monopoly, you can do any fucking thing you want to. Trump was getting in the way of them trying to run a monopoly. Trump organization.
And I'm constantly going back and forth with Walmart and Chrysler as well. So he is the least expensive Negro.
Black people cannot.
Now these are the least expensive Negroes. They got some more least expensive Negroes to put on a payroll to be what? Racial dividers.
Not get away with this. The evasiveness that we saw at her trial yesterday, at her hearing yesterday, where she all but perjured herself, versus the tape that you just played. Black people cannot get away with that. So when I hear Jen Psaki, the press secretary, say that Biden's against court expansion, and he has been clear about that, what I hear is Biden is not willing to do what is necessary to actually fix the problem. And everybody at home knows that, right? Everybody at home knows that if Rashida Tlaib, if Ilhan Omar, if Ayanna Pressley had tried what Marjorie Taylor Greene tried yesterday, they would have caught a perjury charge before they validated their parking. Now, some people are going to say, oh, how you bringing race into it? Because I'm a white man, and I don't like to think about the privilege that is cloaked and shielded my entire life.
You see that? Somebody has to okay this. Right? Somebody, right? It's got to be some type of regulations on things and ethics on your channel where you can say things you cannot say things. You shouldn't be. Now, if Tucker Carlson say some shit like that, right? If anybody on Fox say anything like that, right? They will be cast out. They will be boycotted. There would be all kind of shit. But he get on here and say, I can do white privilege and white privilege this. Why? Because they allow this shit on MSNBC. And who on MSNBC? Comcast.
Because as long as you let these 6 conservative theocrats control the country, you will get decision after decision after decision rescinding the rights of everybody in this country who is not a straight, white, cis, hetero male.
Huh? You see this? He can be openly racist about white people, right? And white people, you can't say anything back, because you say anything back and defend yourself, you're racist.
Or a Glock.
Don't really do business with real African-American-owned companies.
Something like that sound. I mean, when you say that about Al Sharpton, are you saying he's
the numbers are actual.
like I understand that there are going to be people who are that.
And the racism actual. Think about this. You think this dude right here is a black voice? You think he's speaking to black people? Just listen to him. He's not speaking to black people. Just imagine for you oneself. Take yourself out of your conservative mind, right, and your unracist mind, right, and put yourself in a liberal body, right, and a white racist body, right, and just think of him talking about black people for you. Think about it. You would be happy at everything if you was a true racist. You'd be like, yes. He's stereotyping these blacks. He calling them dumb. He calling them ignorant, right? He calling them all this old shit, right? He's able to separate because guess what? When the KKK was around, they didn't have a problem with just black people. They had a problem with the Republican Party in the whole. Huh? You can donate if you want to. You can donate if you want to. If it's getting good to you, can donate if you want to. Let's get them donations up.
People who are that obtuse. But at the end of the day, what Marjorie Taylor Greene did was perjury. And if she was a non-white person, she would be at least investigated for that. So it's not that she couldn't really answer your question. I can, because I don't have a job.
And that stereotyping, I can answer the question because I don't have a job. Right? You stereotyping yourself, right? But he's saying he don't have a job. He can say what the fuck he wants to. Think about it. He just said she can't say it. But I can say what I want to because I don't have a job, so I can't get fired. I get paid from MSNBC to do this shit.
In fact, if she was just a Democrat, she would be at least investigated for that. You know how I know that? Because I am old enough to remember when Republicans impeached Bill Clinton for less. Is that women who have miscarriages will now be investigated as criminals by white Republican men.
Huh? You hear that? Not Democrat Republican men, right? You're going to be investigated by white Republican men for miscarriages, right? This is a so-called black man. He's talking to white racist people. He's not talking to black people. There's no way he can be talking to black people.
All right, that the evasiveness that Bill Clinton did in his deposition was less than what we all saw Marjorie Taylor Greene do yesterday. Is there going to be investigation? Is there going to be impeachment charges? No, nobody actually thinks there will be because Republicans and white people get away with this all the time.
Huh? Republicans and white people, you get away with it all the time, even though you don't get away with nothing. But they have a so-called black man getting allowed to say Republicans and white men. White people can't say that. The person who paid him can't say that, right? A white host, a white special guest can't say that. A nigga can.
The numbers are just follow the money. That, you know, don't do business with real African American owned companies. Just make a token. Give him $50,000 and a bucket of chicken, and we're good.
So is that their view of the country, the conservative view of the country, is that if dead white men didn't say it in the 18th century, it doesn't exist.
Huh? Dead white men. Who can say that? Who can get on TV and say dead white men? Right? Now, if somebody come on here and say like something like, well, dead black people want reparations, it'll be a problem. We shouldn't give reparations to dead black people, it'll be a problem. But he can get on here and say dead white people.
And I heard a cop come up, roll up
and watch how he this is how he talked for a black man, right? This nigga got on a suit, a big ass afro, glasses, all this shit in the back. But watch he try to play like he's a thug. The story is, right, he heard a police car coming, right? Because you ain't gonna able to understand his way because he's trying to say it in a sophisticated way, right? He heard the police car coming, right? He was so scared of the police car, right, that he ran and grabbed his daughter because he went back to some, I guess, his ghetto raises a ghetto shit, but he don't say that. But he went back to his ghetto ways and his fear of the police. And for a couple of minutes, he forgot that he was a father and he feared as his daughter was a prey for the police. So this is a fear he got and the black people got against the police. He's going to say it, right? And you probably can understand him a little bit less, but this is what the fuck he talking about. Who does this? Who says this besides a racist who's trying to say, hey, black people should be scared of the police, even niggas who look like me?
Pull up the street, they have the sirens on, right? And I run to my window and I scream, be quiet, until the cop passes, right? The whole interaction lasted 5 seconds, 6 seconds, right? But like what white people don't see are all these little micro interactions where for 5 seconds, I couldn't treat my kids like kids. I had to treat them like prey.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he understood? He had to run for 5 seconds because he thought the police was coming for his daughter. I had to treat him like prey. This is a message he talking to white folks, not niggas.
And we know that to be an intellectually bankrupt point because the same people who say that ignore the 9th Amendment where those dead white men said we can't possibly say all the rights that exist.
Dead white men. Who can say that?
Trying to shake them down the same way by filing this lawsuit, which is not going to succeed.
Look, Brian, let's define a shakedown. He doesn't give anything in return. I am a legitimate businessman.
Because the predator is coming. And you never see that. You never see the toll that takes on children, how we have to take childhood away from our own children to keep them safe.
You hear this? Lies? I had to take childhood from my own children to keep them safe. Lies. He's talking and he's pumping the fear, right? Talking to white folks. This is how black folks fear. He's not talking to all black folks. He don't speak for all black folks. He's speaking for himself because I don't feel like that. And I should be in more fear than this nigga for where he lived and for where I live, for my background and his background. Right? I should be more fearful for my kid. But me and my kid, we don't fear for our lives like that. But in the community you stay in, right? And the way you look, right? You fear for the police? Nigga ain't gonna think you're an old man. You and your daughter are scared of the police.
People don't see that.
And let me also just say, as the one white person here, like, it's just, the whole thing is, like, frankly racist. Like, it's just obviously the case.
That father is trying to tell you what it's like. And I don't think that there are juries, I don't think that there are predominantly white juries that understand that well enough to convict these cops.
Huh? Do you hear that? He's trying to get empathy and sympathy and stir up emotion. I don't think it's a white jury that'll convict these cops. You see this?
Yeah, I don't know who it's not all Republicans, just MAGA Republicans are for. Like, I'm sure that there are some white supremacists who will vote with white supremacists who don't think they're white supremacists. We're happy that Biden didn't call them a white supremacist, but like, it's not for me.
We won't have any problems with real African-American owned media. You should not be Chrysler. You shouldn't be giving him money and not spending money with me and others like me and Stevie Wonder's radio station here in Los Angeles.
It is the staff of the DOJ Antitrust Division, which is very skeptical of this business model. It's why they went after AT&T and CNN.
I am one of the
AT&T and CNN, right? The reason why they went after AT&T and CNN, right? Bad business mergers, right? Because guess who own them? We finna get into that in a minute, right? Guess who's doing all this juggling, right? We almost to the details. Oh, we're gonna expose the characters and the names and the players of the game and all that other shit, right? We finna break it down, and he finna break it down better than I can any day, right? This is why they shut the nigga up. This is why Comcast paid this nigga, right? And he's right. And right now he's a billionaire, right? He's a black billionaire. And guess what? Comcast, he was already a billionaire, right? But Comcast, good looking out in the donation, DP. Life is too short and too important a thing to ever talk seriously about it. It is, DP. It's way too short. You can't talk serious about this shit, right? But you got to come to this show to get this type of information. DP, we finna get into the juicy shit. Sergeant Mo, we about to get into the juicy shit, Sergeant Mo. I've been telling you, Sergeant Mo, we about to get into the name calling.
one of the largest independent producers of television and media in the world. I have 36 television shows on the air and 7 24-hour HD networks.
And Trump has called this business model and NBC and Comcast public enemy number one to people.
Think about it. And he's not, the NCP was suing Comcast. Everybody was suing Comcast, right? Donald Trump was going after Comcast for bad business regulations, right? Everybody going after Comcast. Who is behind Comcast, DP? Who behind Comcast?
They're not letting us participate in the $50 billion that they spend on licensing and advertising. There's a very big difference. He's the shakedown. I'm the legitimate entrepreneur. We have to make sure
we're
that
showing some of your programs right now, but let me read Comcast's response. I think it's really important to hear their side here. They say this complaint represents nothing more than a string of inflammatory, inaccurate, and unsupported allegations. We are proud of our outstanding record supporting and fostering diverse programming. They went on to say we will defend vigorously against the scurrilous allegations in this complaint, and we fully expect that the court will dismiss them.
Right? And the court, look, think about it. They didn't take it to court because he had so much evidence that they would have lost the case and he would have got billions of dollars. So what they done is gave the nigga what he wanted and he dropped the lawsuit, right? Which he wanted, and guess what? He made himself a billionaire. All I wanted was an opportunity to give other black people an opportunity, not just me, but other black people. And guess what? That's how a lot of these black people got these opportunities, but guess what? A lot of them is paid. We're going to give you opportunity, but we won't pay you what the fuck to say, right? So that's why all these black so-called networks and shows are coming up on all these NBC channels and shit like that. They pay.
And the Weinstein story generated this because the charges are that NBC, nixed the story, spiked it, and didn't do it.
But he just hates them as a business. He just thinks that they're so politically biased against them.
But did you hear that? Donald Trump say Comcast hates them. He just gave the key words to what I'm going to talk about. He thinks they politically biased against him, right? Think about it. Why would Donald Trump say that? And why would Comcast hate him, right? On some political shit, right? Why? Why would you think that? Who would think Donald Trump, right? And Comcast will have some kind of political beef? Why would you think that? Why would he say that?
Now, Sharpton has not commented on the record. Do you have a question for him or a thing you'd like him to address about this?
No, Al Sharpton's not that. He's not important. He's nothing more than a black pawn in a very sophisticated white economic chess game.
That they'll never give him a break. The problem that they have is that there is a real underbelly inside the Justice Department that agrees that their business model is problematic.
Huh? Agrees with their business model is problematic. Why you think they hired so many black people and gave this nigga what they want, right? He was exposing them at the same time Donald Trump was exposing them, right? They was getting hit with every way, and the Justice Department, and the FCC, and trade. They was getting hit from everywhere, right? But you wonder why they still was able to do all these business mergers, right? I know you're wondering why they was able to do all of this, all right? Huh? You still wondering why, right? I'm going to connect the dots, right? If you stayed in this long, you might as well stay a little while longer, right? Because I'm going to connect the dots for you.
He's being used by his white masters at Comcast and AT&T. He just needs to shut up and get in the bleachers.
And what I've been talking to people that communicate with antitrust division a lot, these staffers, believe it or not, have no problem bringing a civil case against Comcast if they think they can put it together, some sort of a civil investigation into Comcast and its antitrust behavior.
Well, antitrust, Comcast, they was getting civil lawsuits together on Comcast. Groups, organizations was coming together on Comcast, right? Comcast started paying people off. Why? Because they had the money to do it. Why? Because it's people behind Comcast, right? Comcast donated to every Black Lives Matter event it was. Huh? Who running Comcast?
What we have to do is get these corporations to understand you must include African-American owned media. We have to stop the financial genocide against the black community.
Conservatives want you to think that a fetus, a fetus.
Hey, look, talking about financial genocide, right? This right here is the dumbest comment I ever heard in my life. This dude is about to say abortion should be to the 9th month or whatever, right? And his reason why is because a fetus is not really a baby. Because if it was, it can apply for citizenship. It can apply for Medicare. It can apply for all this, right? So he's saying, because of this reason, a fetus or a baby shouldn't have more rights than who? A grown black woman. So he combined, right? The life of a fetus ain't shit because the life of a black woman is so important. This nigga says this, right? And this is the stupidest shit I ever heard. And he's going to try to say it so eloquently and so educated, right? But if you have any common sense, this shit makes no sense. And I swear to fucking whatever you want me to swear to, this is the dumbest abortion answer I ever heard in my life. And you only can hear it on something like MSNBC, something that promotes this shit. Listen to this.
A fetus who is pre-viability, that means that it cannot exist outside of its mother, it cannot live outside of the womb, should have the same legal rights as full-grown black people in this country.
Understand how offensive this all sounds to someone like Al Sharpton.
Well, you know, I'm not worried about his feelings. I'm more focused on getting corporate America to understand it's time to do business with us.
And that the fact that it doesn't is some kind of miscarriage of justice, no pun intended, and that the people who shouldn't have the full rights are the women who are carrying the fetus. Now, I can prove that a fetus is not deserving of full personhood rights.
You hear that? The reason I put Byron Allen comment up in here, right? Because when you shit, this is the alarm off. When you can say anything you want to, and you have no limit on the extent you can go, you can say shit like that. You can say, I can prove a baby, right? I can prove a baby shouldn't have the same rights as a grown woman, right? He's going to prove a fetus. This is what they get paid to say. This is why black people, right? Real black people need their own information network, a real one, not one that's owned by liberals, but a real one, because information like this will never come out. While a fetus is not important,
right? Because if it were, they would be arguing that the fetus should be given citizenship. They would be arguing that the fetus should have other rights, like a right to education or right to healthcare. They would be arguing that I should be able to claim fetuses as dependents on my taxes, which you'll note they're not. They're only concerned about the right of a fetus when that right can be used to diminish the rights of women.
I don't know how. I don't know how to respond to that. I really don't know how to respond. I really don't know what to say to that, right? Claim a fetus should have a right to education. The fetus should have a right to health care. A fetus, you should be able to claim a fetus on your taxes. I don't know how to respond to that, and I don't know how people are allowed to get on TV and say some shit like that. But when you work for a racist company that's owned by racist people that has a racist agenda, you can get away with that.
And President Obama has been bought and paid for. He has taken donations from Comcast. Comcast is his biggest contributor.
What? Wait a minute. Did you say Comcast was Obama's biggest contributor? Why would you say some shit like that? Why would he say some shit like that, right? Why would he say shit like that? Comcast, right? Right, where we at, right? Comcast. Right here. Who we at with Comcast? Who we at with Comcast? Right? It says right here, how Comcast bought the Democratic Party, right? We're gonna run through this, right? If you want to Google this, right? Because I can't read this whole thing, but this is how Comcast bought the Democratic Party. A huge murder brought about by high-intensity lobbying goes unopposed, right? The communications expert giant Comcast announced in February that it will buy Time Warner, right, for $45 billion, creating the largest cable provider in the company in America, right? Be the largest cable provider in the company. So whatever they say, go, right? With more than 33 million customers, that is about 1/3 of the United States and satellite television market. FCC approval is required for the merger to go into effect. Critics of the deal say it would lessen competition and lead to even shadier customer service, right? They are probably right, as we all of us know or will soon find out, because there is little chance the merger will be stopped. Comcast, Time Warner, and the potential fixers have spent years preparing for this moment by buying off the Democratic Party. Huh? If you want to read on this, you can read on this, right? You can read on this, right? You can read on this, right? Cohen, right? This dude right here, right? Let me see what this say, right? It says right here, right? David Cohen is a former aide to the Democratic bigwig Ed Renwell, whatever. Cohen skirts lobbying regulations through loopholes, has raised more than $2 million for Obama in 2007 and 2011, hosted the DNC fundraiser at which the president called him a friend. Cohen has visited the White House 14 times since 2010, including 2 visits at the Oval Office. He attended White House dinners for the president in France, right? Cohen plays a major role in Comcast Foundation, which has distributed more than $3 million since 2001 primary to groups that serve African American, Latino, and Asians. The other segments of Democratic coalitions, right? And like Black Lives Matter. You will be surprised to learn that many of the groups to whom Comcast Foundation has donated now support proposed mergers of the 33 million Comcast has spent political campaigns since 1989, right? More than half or 18 million have gone to Democrats. Barack Obama is number 1 on the list of top 10 recipients. Comcast, there are 4 Republicans on the list, right? Let me see. Where we at, right? There are 4 Republicans on the list, right? But if you want to read more of that, oh, wait a minute, I got Nudge must like this information. What Nudge say? It is all designed to distract us. Man versus woman, black versus white, straight versus gay, just so they can hide what they're trying to do or what they're doing. You right about that, Nudge, right? If y'all liking this video, you can send me a donation. We finna get into it. We finna get into some more, right? Right? You can read this if you want to read this, but because we got some more shit up here we got to read, right? We got way more shit we got up here read to prove what the fuck I'm saying, right? Or what the fuck he's saying, right? So, Comcast was Obama's biggest donor, right? Let's get into it. Let's get into some more video. Let's get into it, Nudge. You're looking at the donation, Nudge.
Contributor. AT&T is one of his biggest contributors.
Wait a minute. AT&T is one of his biggest contributors. What do you mean AT&T is one of his biggest contributors, right? AT&T gave $3 million to Obama's inauguration. Telecommunications giant, right? AT&T gave $3 million to fund the festival surrounding the presidential Obama swearing-in ceremony 2 weeks ago. One of the largest ever contributions to a president inauguration ever, according to the lobbying report. In the report filed to Congress on Wednesday night, the company said that it spent $3.4 million on lobbying during the last 3 months of the year, covering everything from sales of wireless spectrum, intellectual property protections, and broadband affordability, among hundreds of other issues. Obama prohibited corporations to his first inauguration in 2009, but he lifted the regulations in 2012, right? When did they donate? When did they donate? In 2012. He donated, look, he lifted in 2012, right? And they donated $3 million in 2012. Think about it, y'all. Huh? Right? Once restricted, right? Once restriction remained for the 2003 inauguration, prohibition directed contribution from individual lobbyists and politicians' action committees. AT&T donations to Obama inauguration came through the company itself, right? But you can read this if you want to. AT&T would spend a total of $17 million on lobbying in 2012. Was required to report contributions to the presidential inauguration under provision 2007 ethics reform bill that Obama championed as a senator. He championed as a senator in 2007 and lifted it as a president in 2012 to get them donations, huh? If that's something that you didn't know, send a nigga a donation, right? But we ain't over yet. We ain't finished yet. But the donation you send will be well worth it. If it's some shit you didn't know about, send a nigga a donation. Let's get back into the video. Send a nigga a donation. Let's get back into the video. Let's get it in. It's getting too good. Let's get it in.
Meeting. The president's on vacation right now. He's in Martha's Vineyard, and he has been playing golf. Yesterday, he played with a group of gentlemen. One of them was the Comcast CEO, which I believe is Brian Roberts.
Wait a minute. Brian Roberts, Obama playing golf in Martha's Vineyard with the CEO? I believe his name is Brian Roberts, right? Brian Roberts, what do you mean? Who the fuck is Brian Roberts, right? We got to look up Brian Roberts. Brian Roberts was born into a Jewish family in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was a Jew too, right? You got Jeff Zucker is a Jew, born into a Jewish family, right? I mean, Jeffrey Zucker, right? And you got Brian was born as a Jew, right? Wait a minute. Comcast, right? Hired a Jew to run CNN and MSNBC, right? Why? Okay, and he friends at the golf court at Martha Vineyard with Barack Obama. I wonder what they doing, huh? Send a nigga donation. I wonder what they doing, huh? Wait a minute. Wait. What did this stat right here say? Wait. What did this stat right there say? Right? Wait. We're gonna play. What does that say? Comcast Incorporated, the world's largest cable system, is using airtime to promote Obama. Wait a minute. Shouldn't that be illegal? Ain't that illegal, y'all? I'm just saying, right? That should be illegal. If that's illegal, send a nigga a donation. That's illegal, right? What the hell is Comcast, who friends with Obama? They at the golf course swinging and doing the golf and shit like that. How are they friends and how are they shooting free commercials for Barack Obama? They shouldn't be doing that, should they? They shouldn't be doing that. That's
Listen,
wrong.
Obama, your own FTC is investigating AT&T for throttling. How can you even consider them to buy DirecTV when you're suing them?
Wait a minute. Barack Obama is suing. What do you mean Barack Obama is suing AT&T for throttling? What do you mean? What does he mean by that? Right? What does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? No, wait a minute. What does he mean by that? Where we at? Update. The U.S. sued AT&T over alleged data throttling on phone calls. Washington, D.C., the U.S. government sued AT&T Incorporated over Tuesday, alleging that the number two U.S. wireless carrier sold customers unlimited data plans, but not reduce their internet speeds once they exceeded a certain amount of data. The Federal Trade Commission, right, said this is throttling of internet feeds was deceptive, and that in some cases, data speeds were slowed by over 90%, right? They was throttling people internet so people can buy more internet access, right? They stopped providing the service that customers understood they had purchased when they entered into the contract. He said customers would be subject to an early termination fee if they wanted to get out of the existing contract, right? What do you mean? Obama was suing them, but right here it says, wait a minute, AT&T gave them, Obama, $3 million. Whoa. He gave him $3 million. That must be nice. It must be nice, right? The company gets sued and you get $3 million from the company. Huh? We have more than 3.5 customers with legacy unlimited data plans have their unlimited speed slowed more than 25 million times by AT&T practice, which began in October of 2011. Huh? You were suing them, but all of a sudden you helping them with mergers? Wait a minute, let's get back into this. This shit is crazy. Oh, I got a donation from James Touche. Get looking out. James Touche on the donation. We breaking it on down, James Touche. We getting into it. Be like James Touche and send a Diego donation. The Democrats are crooks rolling like pigs in their own mess. Their own shit. I'll say it for you, since he can't say it. They rolling in their own shit.
Yep. And also Comcast, of course, owns NBC and MSNBC.
What? This is an unfair and maybe criminal act. You mean to tell me, right, Comcast breaking campaign laws, you say that might be criminal? Campaigning for Barack Obama on national TV? Why would that be criminal? That shouldn't be criminal.
Is it because you took donations? Yes, Obama.
Is it because you took Obama donations? Yes, Obama. You took the donations.
Obama.
Comcast on staff, right? Is this a legal donation? Comcast on staff political advisor is also a strategist for the Democratic Party, right? Is this a legal donation by Comcast? Let's see.
But I don't know what that means in the end. The Republicans have said time and again in this election that issues don't matter. It's really personality. And I beg to differ with them. Even though from a political standpoint that might hold true, governmentally it's not a good thing to do.
Right? This is a somebody on Comcast, right? This is somebody on Comcast, right? An advisor that worked for the station is giving political, right, advice, right, which is against campaign contributions, right? It's a legal campaign contribution. You can't do this. You can't have somebody work as a Democratic strategist and work for the TV company right there giving political advice. It's illegal. It's a legal donation. It's a legal contribution.
Don't even think about letting them merge until they settle this lawsuit and that lawsuit.
Comcast is running 20-minute long pro-Obama spots using their own staff that they air in multiple states. Huh? Comcast.
Right. Governmentally.
Okay. Where can people get more information about the races?
I would recommend starting with BarackObama.com because that's the best place to check and see what people think.
And after that,
Comcast, right? And who? Comcast, right? They Barack Obama friends.
The Obamas went over to the Roberts for dinner as well.
Comcast got caught. Well, let me, Brian, this is important.
Your main issues here are about the mergers, Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and AT&T DirecTV.
No, Brian, let me be clear. My main issue is about economic inclusion for African Americans.
Brian Roberts is just, he's the CEO of Comcast, which now owns NBC Universal. And evidently he had to wait, the president, for Brian Roberts to show up for a while.
The president had to wait for Brian Roberts to show up for a while, right? The president had to wait for Brian Roberts to show up for a while, right? Comcast, right, settles bandwidth throttling lawsuit for $16 million. That's 4 hours of revenue, right? Whoever says the legal system in this country is broken, well, you're right. Comcast was caught tampering with its customers' package for 2 years. It bitched and moaned like nobody's business ever earned whatever, right? The federal whatever, But this is the deal, right? This is, I might as well hear this isn't even that long, right? A class action lawsuit was filed, which was settled for $16 million. Comcast ranked in $3.4 billion in revenue in 2008, meaning that this lawsuit amounts to 4 hours of revenue. That's right, 4 hours of revenue. Corporate America. They made 16 million and they grossed in 34 billion. That's a hell of a. We'll give you 4 hours of service for damn, they won. If Comcast screwed with your package between April 06 and December 08, you might be entitled to a piece of that 16 million pot, right? Yeah, right. Obama, right? Comcast done this, right? Fucked over their customers, right? And got a hell of a lawsuit. Looking out, DP. More people need to donate, damn it. This is what they do. This is what they do. This is what Comcast do.
You know, Comcast deployed software that slowed down video over the web in 2008. They broke federal laws.
So when they
did you hear that? They broke federal laws. Comcast broke federal laws, huh? Wait a minute, where we at? Right? Like I said, it's owned, right, by Mark. Oh, wait a minute, right? The dude, David Cohen, right? Where we at? Right here. Where we at? Right? Somebody named David Cohen, right here. Where we at? David Cohen, right? The person who threw Barack Obama the big ass party, right? For Comcast, right? The person who threw Barack Obama the big ass party, right? The dude, this dude right here, David Cohen, right? David Cohen, President David Cohen, a former aide, right, raised $2 million for Obama, right? Where does David Cohen work now, right? Where we at, right? Where does David Cohen work now? David Cohen works, right? Nice, easy going to cut for Biden's main man in Canada, right? U.S. Ambassador David Cohen has been tasked with repairing the U.S.-Canada transition. First, though, he has to help Canada get past Trump, right? President Joe Biden, old friend, who was David Cohen, right? He used to work for Comcast, right? Who is he? Obama lobbyist, fundraiser, and all that shit. Now he works for who? Joe Biden. And settled into his new job when he was confronted by pimply, pupply, blops, flustering, and United Kingdom, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know what it is. Something has to be done, Cohen told Politico during the interview, right? We're going to get right here. Biden's new ambassador, a rock star Washington, D.C. power broker, right? Key Democratic fundraiser, got to work channeling his energy into resolving agriculture past a spat over potato wars, whatever the fuck that means, right? But Cohen, who arrived at whatever that means, right? Whatever that means, right? If you want to see this, right, you can go ahead and read it yourself, right? But David Cohen, right, one of the people that worked for Comcast, right, that was a fundraiser for Obama, is now working for Joe Biden as an ambassador. Think about the connections. Think about the influences, right? Think about why companies ain't getting sued and all of those shit, right? Because of people like David Cohen, right? They say, wait, fear in a good way. Cameron is just not a bundler. He's established himself as a problem solver. He's a problem solver, right? You want to read the, but we ain't finna read them. He ain't that important. Let's get into the video.
So when they did finally get out there and play, some people are saying, hey, wait a second, isn't Brian Roberts a huge donor? Wouldn't this be an opportunity, to spend a whole day with a donor who runs a major corporation, which happens to be a broadcast corporation, which is very supportive of him?
That's like me robbing a bank and then after I get out on probation saying I want to be the president of the bank. Obama has to do more.
Obama got to do more, right? Obama has to do more. He has to do more for these companies. He got to do more, right? Let me see where we're at, right? Oh, we're right here, yeah. Obama got to do more, right? Politico, right, we're at up there, how, you know what I'm saying? Where we at? up in here, right? Because Comcast and where we at, right? MSNBC shares staff resources with MSNBC, right? They share staff resources, right? Whose chief foreign affairs correspondent is a personal friend and a tireless advocate of who? Hillary Clinton. What? NBC, which during its recent Olympics coverage, whatever. President Obama and Michelle Obama are regulars on Jimmy Fallon's show, right? And Joe Biden, right, was the first guest on Seth Meyers' late night, right? When Biden want to go on interviews, right? When Biden, he don't go to the press conference, right? Where he go? To these talk shows. Because who they owned by? MSNBC and NBC. Who they owned by? Comcast. Who own Comcast? Biden and Obama donors. Think about how the line goes up. Think about how the list goes up, right? Think about how it goes up, right? They regulars on Jimmy Kimmel and all that, right? David Cohen, right? You see this? Cohen, right? It is something of a political irony that Republicans who ideology reasons are pro-business have not raised questions about or objections to joining of two democratic institutions into the media trust. If Republicans had any sense, they would wage war against Comcast and its democratic enablers and turn the merger into live issue. Needless to say, they have not done that. So perhaps in wrong-headed, the fertile hope of scraps of the table of the Comcast cable beast, perhaps in the food, whatever, they should have went to war and kept on going to war with, like who? Donald Trump. Huh? Like Donald Trump. Where we at? Should have went to war with him. Let him get away with it.
Maybe he's just a really good golfer.
Yeah, and I think the president is hanging with some of his solid political buddies.
I'm very proud of what Obama has done for the gay community. I'm very proud that he has achieved gay marriage. And if you can do that, you can achieve economic inclusion for all Americans, especially African Americans who have been left the furthest behind.
Yes, Mr. Roberts is a contributor. Other folks at...
Mr. Roberts is a contributor, right? Mr. Roberts is a contributor. All right. Wait, play something.
Yes, Mr. Roberts is a contributor. Other folks at Comcast are bundlers, putting together millions of dollars for the president.
Obama, you bailed out the banks. The banks you bailed out don't even make commercial loans to...
Wait, Obama bailed out the banks?
Obama, you bailed out the banks. The banks you bailed out don't even make commercial loans to African Americans.
Obama bailed out the banks, right? Remember when Obama bailed out the banks? Remember that? Remember that? Remember when Obama bailed out the banks, right? Right here, right? Let me see, right here, right? 8 trillion bailout, right? So people thought Joe Biden 6 trillion was something. Joe Biden said, I'm going to raise you that, right? I'm going to raise 8 trillion, right? Right? New York, sitting there. Wait, matter of fact, we're going to go into this first. Matter of fact, we're going to go in this first, right? About the next bailout, right? About that next bailout in one big lesson from 2009, right? The last time Washington debated on how, wait, matter of fact, let's go to this one first, right? Where we at? I think I should go to this one first. I should go to this one first. Okay. I was just at this one. I was at this one, right? What article was oldest? All right, this one right here. New York. CNNmoney.com. Sitting down. It's time to tally up the federal government's bailout tab. There was 29 billion for 8 billion, whatever. There was 34 billion for whatever group. There was 600 billion for whatever group. Guaranteed money deposit aggressively driven down interest rates to essentially zero because they gave the money to the banks. The banks bailout, right? You know what I'm saying? So the list goes on and on. Congress told Treasury Department, the Federal Reserve, and other agencies have taken dozens of steps to prop up the economy. Total price of the so far $7.2 trillion in investments and loans, right? That puts a lot of taxpayer money at risk. Now comes presidential-elect Barack Obama's economic stimulus plan, some details of which were made public on Monday. That tally is getting awfully close to $8 trillion. Obama's plan combined tax cuts and infrastructure jobs, right, which Joe Biden said he's doing right now. Tax cuts and infrastructure jobs. We're going to cut the tax on the poor in the middle class and do infrastructure jobs, right? Joe Biden is saying that right now. Economists say it will serve as an integral piece of government's remaining economic recovery puzzle. This plan will be the first direct tool to make additions to the whatever, but right, but the new program which Obama aide said could total $575 billion will also weigh heavily on balloon federal deficit, right? The current fiscal year is barely a few months old, and already the government is running a deficit exceeding $400 billion, right? Nearly the same amount. I mean, but Joe Biden is trying to do the same thing, right? Barack Obama did, which failed, right? Throw money at the problem, right? We're going to throw money at the problem and hope some shit stick, right? Lessons learned from the first time we done this shit, right? It has to be a lesson learned, right? Right? The last time Washington debated how much stimulus to inject into the economy, right, was in 2009. The nation was reeling from the mortgage meltdown, and President Barack top advisor Larry Phillips, a physical as well as intellectual heavyweight, kept telling colleagues that worrying that the government will spend too much money is like worrying he will lose too many pounds. There's not much danger that it'll become exotic, but he's saying basically you cannot spend enough money as the government in the United States. In other words, the risk of overshooting during a crisis far outstrip the risk of undershooting, far outweigh the risk of overshooting. Obama agreed to big, and his first month in office, he signed unprecedented $800 billion economy recovery bill, twice as large as the public requested by hundreds of liberals and economists, 4 times as large as Obama's own campaign plan. In retrospect, most economists agree more would have been better, right? But his shit didn't work. You can read it if you want to. You can read it if you want to, right? You can read it if you want to. Google it if you don't believe me.
The president also spent time with an NPR host, and so we've seen a lot of the folks that stand up for him on a daily basis up in the Martha's Vineyard area, and being with old political pals.
Obama, you bailed out the car companies. Those car companies don't advertise with people like me and people like Ebony Magazine. Obama controls close to $2 billion in advertising.
Did you hear that? Obama damn near is $2 million in the advertising, right? Right? He getting money from Comcast, right? He getting money from AT&T, getting money from Comcast, right? You know what I'm saying? He's all these bailouts he's giving, right? Bank bailouts he's giving, right? He's kicking, right? All these people that he's hanging with, right? That control media and going after Donald Trump, right? Like CNN, whatever director, Jeff Zucker, right? All these people that own all these media stations that go after Donald Trump, like CNN and MSNBC and shit like that. People like and own Comcast, like Jews like Brian L. Roberts, right? Huh? People that's controlling, right? People that's controlling and working for the Biden administration. You know, people like David Cohen, right? You got all these regulations, right? On how Comcast, right, is merging inside the Democratic Party, because people go into Comcast into business, then they come back to the Democratic Party. They go in and out, in and out. The same people was in the Biden administration. I mean, it was in the Obama administration. Is the same people that went into the business and is out in the Obama administration and in Biden administration. The same people, right? Good looking out on the donation nudge, right? The same exact people. Don't let them fool you, right? So when Kanye West say, hey, is Jewish people behind this? I'm not saying all people, you know what I'm saying, or all Jewish people are racist, or all Jewish people are spreading this shit. But guess what? It's the Jewish people right here is the only people that's spreading and allowing this shit to happen. Because if they didn't want this shit to happen on their channel, all they got to do is say stop, right? Right? But they own, but look at this, right? Obama getting money from companies like AT&T that's getting sued for throttling, right? That's cheating their customers, right? Huh? I mean, the list goes on and on, right? But you have people behind it. So when Kanye West say it's the Jewish people, you got a Barack Obama kicking with these same people that's trying to bring Kanye down, right? That's trying to bring Donald Trump down, right? Because after Donald Trump left the apprentice and turned them down and ran for president, how all of a sudden the same person that fired him worked for CNN and directing basically a hit piece on Donald Trump every fucking night. The same, think about it, the same person that hired Donald Trump tried to fire Donald Trump. Same person.
Controls close to $2 billion in advertising. Join the Army, join the Navy, join the Marines.
And what other white Republicans may think of black people.
It's why they love Donald Trump.
Comment.
It's why white people love Donald Trump. Now you have to think to yourself, was Kanye wrong? Right? You have all these so-called black people on these news networks consistently spreading racist rhetoric, talking about racism on a constant, consistent basis, right? You're trying to say they're not adding to the divisiveness of this country? They're not adding to people not being able to come together and unite? They're not adding to none of this? Right? They talk about white people like it's dog. If I was a white person, I would be getting mad. I don't understand how they get away with this. If somebody didn't want this shit to happen, they could tell them stop. You can still give the information, right? And you can still be opinionated, but you don't have to call name. You don't have to call that division. You don't have to say white this and white woman that and Nazi this and Nazi that. You don't have to say that. You can still be just as educated, eloquent, and everything, and say the same thing if you was intelligent like that. Why you have to go to the derogatory marks just to prove a point, and all this emotion and crying and yelling and all this so shit? The Democratic Party showed you how racist they ass in every way, right? The thing about some of these people, right? The reason why they after Donald Trump, right? Because if you look at, right, it says, right, his political, let me see, his politics. Robert was founding co-chairman of Philadelphia, right, a nonpartisan committee, right, 2000, right, Republican thing, right. But this dude is not a Republican. This dude is a Democrat, right. Robert has donated more than $700 to Democratic candidates, right, Obama endorsements and all this sort of shit, right. This dude is a Democrat, right. This dude is a Democrat, right. Right. Philanthropy, right? But Roberts was a recipient of the 19th whatever award, right? The humanitarian award, right? Whatever this is, diversity, whatever this is, right? Whatever the award was, foundation largest, right? But he's a damn Jew and a damn Democrat, right? A Democrat. This is one of the two major parties where he's a Jew and a Democrat, right? What is Jeff Zucker? I keep on saying Mark Zucker, right? But this dude is a damn Democrat. They ain't got his shit up here, right? But he's a damn Democrat. You can Google it if you want to, right? You know this Jewish person right here, right? He's a Democrat, right? He's fundraiser for Barack Obama, right? Help raise his inauguration money, right? and all of those shit, right? And it's and raised over 17 million since Barack Obama been in office, that they had to report to the White House ethics and shit like that. So this dude right here is also a Democrat, right? So now you know a big reason why they are able to go after Donald Trump the way they go after Donald Trump, because you have Democrats, right, that work for Comcast, that just own Comcast, just happen to be Jewish, is behind all of this. They're behind the racism. They're behind the politics. They're behind Obama, right? They're behind Al Sharpton. They're behind these people on CNN, right? They're behind basically, right? They're behind all the coverage, right? You think they was able to cover all that Donald Trump and spread all them lies, right, without the head boss's permission at Comcast or CNN? That's why it's more than just news. That's why it's political, because you have people at the top, right, that are paid, that are paying black people to say certain things, white people to say certain things, Asian people to say certain things, right? To misspread information. They don't care about the ratings. They rich. You see how much money they raised for Obama? They don't give. Look at MSNBC ratings. They're in the toilet right now. Look at Joy Reid ratings. They're in the toilet right now. Tiffany Cross, her shit in the toilet right now. Al Sharpton, his shit in the toilet right now. They doing worse than CNN, right? And think about it. CNN, they losing they fucking views and subscribers, and they people, whatever you want to call it, and they kicking the shit out of people. You go. We're gonna demote you. We're gonna hire you, right? Think about it. These other black people ratings is worse than theirs, and their job is safe because they spreading the agenda, right? I tell people all the time, right? People have been claiming this for years. They get mad at Kanye West for saying it. Prince said it. When he called himself a slave, he was talking about Jews. Ice Cube said it, right? That's what the whole movie, the NWA, was about. About a Jew, you know what I'm saying, messing up his crew. You said in the song, you done it in the movie, and made a movie about it. How the Jews fucking them out of the contract and separated that was all about a Jew. Right? I'm not racist against no Jewish people, and I'm not mad at them or no shit like that. But you got to call a spade a spade. Because if you want to stop this racist coverage, if you want to stop this spreading this racist information, you can do it at the stroke of a pen or at the drop of a dime. You can do it like this. So we no longer going to spread that information, or we no longer going to cover that type of shit, or we no longer going to do this, or we no longer going to do that because it's misinformation. You haven't even apologized for none of the shit that you done. That's why when CNN gets sued and MSNBC gets sued, right, for amounts of money they can't disclose, right, for misleading people with these false stories, right, they don't want to go to trial because guess what? Comcast will get put on blast. The executives will get put on blast. The same people down in Trump was saying was crooked. These are crooked people. Watch what they get away with. Trump was telling you once again, Trump was right again. Right? How can you get sued? Right? How can the ethics be after you? How can you be AT&T and get sued, right, for $16 million when you cheated the country out of billions? And then the same person you was cheating all them people out of, you funded his campaign. You funded his inauguration. You're playing golf with him. How's all the people that worked for Comcast when Donald Trump worked, when Barack Obama got in office, all of a sudden all these so-called executive of Comcast, all of a sudden they got positions inside the Barack administration. People like this dude, David Cohen, right? He was in the Barack Obama administration. Think about how crooked they is. Somebody was suing their ass, a couple of organizations were suing their ass for racial disparity. Paid him, got him out the way. Right? And when you own the media, you own the message. So anything MSNBC doing or putting out there, they mean to do that. They intend to do that. If that was a regular, if that was some black people who had that much control, they would tell black people, hey, stop that. That's unethical. If it was some regular white people who was doing that, I'm probably sure they'd think the same way. Hey, I mean, can't you control what's happening on your TV? Why do you think it could be so many anti-Semitic laws, anti-Semitic bills, and all that other shit? Black people and other races and white people get beat and killed and assaulted just the same. But you're going to put an anti-Semitic bill up in there because guess what? You're Jewish. So why you not going to put a bill in there to protect your people? Why you not going to counsel people that's telling the truth about what you're doing? Why you not going to shut up people who exposing your practices? Say somebody like Kanye West. You got enough money, he can't fuck up your overhead. Because he's talking about Adidas. He's talking about music. He's talking about the entertainment industry, right? He's talking about all this shit that we basically control. You know? So we can't let him fuck up our overhead, so we got to shut him up. We got to make an example out of him. Anybody else speak out against the truth, we get treated like Kanye West. Right? Because even though Kanye West, right, right, he brought Adidas back because don't nobody really fucking buy Adidas, right? And he brought Adidas back, right? He wanted to make Adidas cheaper, right? But they can't make the Yeezys cheaper because they can't produce Yeezys at a way that Nike can, through their distribution company. So if he can't make them cheaper through distribution, they got to keep them at high prices. Kanye don't want to do all of that. That's some shit that people ain't telling you. He want to put the factories in America. He want to make them cheaper, make them faster, make them easier access for Americans to get them that will employ Americans. But they don't want to see that. Adidas don't want to see that. But guess what? Kanye owned the design and he owned the name. The only thing he don't own is the distribution. And guess who owned the distribution? Right? I don't want to say their names because I don't want to get, them people. And I'm not racist. I don't want to say their name. But Kanye said it. Ain't nothing wrong with being Jewish, you know what I'm saying? If you're Jewish, God bless you. But I'm just telling you what Kanye was. I talk about niggas. I talk about Mexicans. I talk about white people, right? So I don't think if there's any Jewish people listening on here, why your ass think your ass is not not talk aboutable. Like, why you an exception? Right? It just so happened that Kanye is talking about certain people that happen to be Jews. And like think about it, right? When you have owners in a lot of different shit, right? And I told my partner, right, the reason why I don't know why black people ain't complaining. Black people are looking at the advances we got instead of looking at what we ain't got, because we advanced in a long time. White people had a head start, right? They already was over here a couple of 100 years or whatever time they was already over here. They was already established. They had houses, they had land, they had property, they had business, they had all that, right? Then we came over here, we didn't have shit for a long time. Then we finally we got our freedom, right? And then we started having shit in this last 60 years, right? We broke into sports, right? We broke into entertainment, right? We broke into business, right? We broke into a lot of shit we wasn't able to break into in these last 60 years. Look how many billionaires we got right now. We got about 10 billionaires. We got a lot of millionaires, right? A lot of fucking millionaires, right? So in this last 60 years, we done well for our fucking selves. They don't look at that, right? I mean, other people got a head start. If any people got a head start in any country or any place, they should be ahead, right? But you got a head start. For most immigrants come over this motherfucker and they more successful than you, and you ain't took advantage of your head start. You let people outrun you. That's not their fault. I told my friend that, people got opportunities, right? The same person that plan to do drive-bys and plan to go in the corner and do sell drugs and go and kick it with the homies and all that, that same person had the opportunity to go to college and spent all that energy and all that strategizing and into them fucking books, right? He had the same opportunity. He had a choice to do that. It may have been a little harder. It may take a little longer. He may have a little more patience, but he had every opportunity like everybody else in America, but he chose to do something else with his opportunities. He didn't even have to do that. He could have got 9 to 5. He could have done any kind of thing he wanted to. This is America. You chose to gang bang. You chose to sell drugs. You chose to shoot guns. You can't blame it on anybody else, right? So when you have a decision to make and you make the wrong decisions, you can't blame that on nobody. Because at one point in time, you do have, I don't care what kind of background you had, gang, mother, crackhead, family, whatever. At some point in time, you have an opportunity to make a decision. All right? But think about this. You have a certain group of people behind it. If it was black people behind this, right, you can say it's black people behind this, right? If it was KKK members behind this, you can say it's KKK members behind this. White Nazis, whatever group is behind something like this, right, you have to point them out. And it just so happens that the Jewish people are behind a lot of these things that happen in the entertainment business for a long time because they wanted to say stop with the look. Think, son. Before I get up out of here, right? Who sent me a donation, right? Rain Rock, what's up with it? Rain Rock. It's something that I think my partner said. Kanye said, right? That Jordan, which is the most probably the symbolized urban culture, right? Jordan, right? For the last for years, for centuries, right? I mean, for decades, Jordan, right? The shoes, the clothing, right? It represents a certain part of black culture. Jordan, every design was designed by a Jewish dude. So the most influential symbol in black culture was designed by a Jewish dude. Remember when they were like, they was on TV show, Jordan this, Jordan that, commercials, right? Jordan this, Jordan that. On the news, person got shot for a Jordan. Person got robbed for a Jordan, right? On the Christmas tree, mama, I want a pair of Jordans for Christmas, right? To church, on the TV shows, in the NBA, right? A Jewish person has the most influential a contribution to black urban culture. The most important. We're not celebrating no more piece of material more than a Jordan. Hats, shirts, shoes, socks. Invented by a Jewish man. Right? When we say we have no culture, when certain people say black people have no culture, right? In America, we don't, because it's not our culture. We don't speak our own language. We don't read our own Bible. We don't practice our own religion, right? We don't have our own communities. We don't own our own properties, right? We have the money to. We don't have our own schools. We don't have our own institutions, right? We don't have none of that. But the Jews do. They're smart about their shit. You don't see the Jews out here doing drive-bys. You don't see the Jews out here fucking over their people. You don't see the Jews out here not taking care of their kids. You don't see the Jews out here selling drugs and taking drugs with their people. You don't see the Jews out here on records talking about twerking ass and going and spending $1,500 on a diamond in your head. You don't see Jewish people doing that shit. They behind the scenes take care of their people, living off the fat of the land, giving their money from one generation to another generation. That's nothing wrong with it. Black people ought to not hate the Jews, right? They ought to learn from the Jews. Like, if they can do it, we can do it. But guess what? They're not gonna let you do it because they know what? Guess what? If the Jewish people knew if black people had more power than them, right? Had more power than them, they would lose everything they have. right? If every NBA player say, hey, I'm not going to play for such and such, right? Say, until you change the owner, right? If every rapper say, I'm not going to perform or I'm not going to make a record until such and such leave and be replaced by such and such. If every actor say, black actor say, well, I'm not going to play in this, I'm not going to do that until such and such, right? If every fashion designer, if everybody say, look, well, I'm not going to buy this such and such until such and such happen, right? I want to buy from black people. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want a black distributor. I want a black, you know, if they understood how much power they had, because without black people, it wouldn't be no music industry that they own and shit like that. It wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't, I mean, they own their distribution, right? It wouldn't be no black people gotta play certain roles in movies and do certain things. I mean, it wouldn't be so much control if black people knew how much power they had. But long as the Jewish people is signing the front of the check, they don't give a fuck about the back of the check, right? Because think about this. People say how much money Michael Jordan have or LeBron James have. Think about how much money the motherfucker they play for have. Huh? Think about a motherfucker who signed the front of their check. Don't think about the person who signed the back of the check. Right? I'm up out of here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show, you know what I'm saying? If you feel free to donate to the Cash App or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? We'll put that up, you know what I'm saying? Because we need the money and we need the donations to keep this channel going and keep this information going. You keep the donations coming. I promise you I will keep on with the information, you know what I'm saying? So if you ain't donated and you feel you like this show, I'm going to leave the Cash App or the PayPal in the chat later on, you know what I'm saying? After this video go off, and you can hit that link or you can donate to the Cash App, or you can go and you can donate live on here. However you want to do it, but we got to keep this channel going with the donation. And I got, right, I'm gonna put up I got Donald Trump 2024 next shirt, right? I'm saying I gotta buy me a new car, you know what I'm saying, so I can do new things, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to fix up this car, so I need to sell about 200 shirts or hats. I'm gonna start selling them tomorrow, so you can send me a Cash App. I'm gonna let you know the price tomorrow, right? You can send me a Cash App or donation, right? And say send your shit, and I'm gonna send it to you with your reparations reform letter, right? So, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna have some shit on sale tomorrow. If you want to donate to the channel and you want something back and you want to keep this channel going and you want one of them cool ass Donald Trump shirts I'll be wearing, if you want one of them, I have them on sale for you tomorrow. I promise. I'm up out this summer, bitch. I figure shoot my Donald Trump sales hat commercial, 2024 next commercial. See y'all tomorrow.